Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Co-optional Podcast here on the 13th of December, 2016. Baby, it's cold outside. It really is fucking freezing over here. What the hell? North Carolina, we got weather changes. Oh dear.
Do you have snow?
We don't yet. We just have crushingly cold. It is very cold. We will get snow eventually. It might be too cold for snow right now.
We don't have any snow.
No snow, but potentially snow at some point.
Potentially snow outside.
30% chance of precipitation.
Potentially snow out there.
Oh god, yeah, something like that.
It would be a much less convincing song.
I would imagine so, yes. Oh my god.
You should really stay here. I mean, you don't have an umbrella, and it might rain.
It could. There's always the potential for that, right?
Is there snow where you are, Jesse?
No, it's raining.
Frick a dick.
It's England. We don't get as much snow as you might think over there. And Jesse, you're probably down in the London-esque greater metropolitan area.
I am.
Which is an area that shuts down if about one flake of snow hits the ground. Because they don't know how to deal with it. It's like, God, the apocalypse.
It's already a mess. The trains are down. The bridges are being repaired. Oh, it's apocalypse over here right now. It's an apocalypse.
Doesn't in any way surprise me if that's true. It has happened before. Whereas up in the Northeast, where we know what we're doing when it comes to these kind of things, like, all right, cool. Yeah, let's just trudge through it. It's fine.
To be fair, it also has to do with what kind of machinery you have available to you.
True, very true.
In my hometown, our whole high school shut down when there was even just like the whisper of snow.
Yes.
Because we didn't have anything that could potentially plow the streets. So.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Well, you went to like a smaller. My school, it was like, oh no, we always stay open because you can just walk your ass to school, you lazy bastards. Like that was mine. We never had snow days ever. There'd be like a foot on the ground. They'd be like, you live a mile away, just walk. Like, that was my school.
We had snow days, and then I also sometimes got flooded into my house, and I would have flood days.
I mean, I think flood days are pretty fair. Days? It's like, do you own a boat? No? All right. Then I think you have a reasonable excuse not to go.
Days.
Because okay, look. We have like a half-mile long driveway that goes over a little creek, and when it starts to warm up and there's a lot of rain, then the snow melts that's like up a bit higher, and then it like gathers in the creek, and then the rain, and then our driveway then goes up like this, and our house is up here, so then this just like floods and we can't get down. We suck.
And then we can't even get down because we get stuck in the water.
Yeah. I feel like there was an element of coherence in there.
A little bit.
If we dig a little deeper, we will find what this means.
Emotional flooding is what she was referring to.
Indeed.
Yes.
Yeah.
For those asking why exactly I'm cosplaying a Watch Dogs 2 character and or a rap god,
he's a huge fan. He's a huge fan of cosplay 2. Cosplay 2?
Cosplay.
Yep. Ooh, what time is it there, Jesse?
Cosplay 2.
8 in the evening. He doesn't have a fucking excuse. That's absolutely not. I can't find my hat. I don't know where it is.
Cosplay 2.
Cosplay 2.
He's been playing too much Cosplay 2, that's why.
Cosplay 2.
Yeah, there's still a lot of games. Although I think we're pretty much done for major releases the end of this year. Though we keep saying this, and then one just like sneaks out of nowhere. It's like, yeah, but there's still this. There's still this. It's been fucking busy year for video games, no doubt. And we could talk about what we've been playing this week. That's a thing we often do.
Yo.
I finally played The Last Guardian.
Yeah, you not only played The Last Guardian. Every time I visited Twitch, it said you're playing The Last Guardian. Like you should have been here for the last 16 hours. What's going on here? Did it take you 16 hours to convince the fucking Cowlat thing to actually do what it was supposed to do? Is that why?
I've only played 8 hours of it. I think that the reason that kept happening is because the playlists on Twitch are kind of borked. So if you have a playlist running, it says that it says that your playlist is called exactly what your last stream was called, and so everybody got really confused. But
ooh, that sounds exploitable. I should play around with that. It's like, come watch me stream live, folks. If I put the fish tank on stream, nobody's gonna know that it's the same fish tank stream.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Brilliance.
We did name the fish after you guys, by the way.
I saw.
Really?
Yeah, you all. Here's what I want to do, right? I want to try, and I'm just completely ruining your Last Guardian thing here. You can get back to that in a moment.
That's okay. Tell me all about the fish. I'm so excited.
So the fish in the snark tank. We've named them after different people that we know. It's the snark tank. And we believe that they will eventually fight to the death. So it's going to be a kind of Game of Thrones sort of situation. They're all
Did you specifically not get fish that get along?
No, these fish totally get along in every way. Like they're just tetras. Like they don't fight. They should be totally fine. But they all glow different colors, which is really fucking awesome.
I just imagined you buying like 10 Japanese fighting fish and throwing them all in the same tank.
Just throw 10 betas in the same tank and see what happens. Like, no. That is no. Jesse Codd, of course, is part of the tank. He gets along with Seabiscuit quite well. It Me Fish E is the most vanilla fish that we have. Kodja is the smallest hyper fish.
Yay!
You seem to get on fairly well with Finn Victor, so we have that.
Excellent.
It took a while. I think it was mostly Twitter's inspiration to get something for Maggie. We got, which I thought was very clever, Maggie Carp. I was like, that works on multiple levels.
That's good. I like it.
The best one is Krendor's. It doesn't
Krendori.
Yeah. Krendori is the best name.
It's a good one. It's good. We can't take any credit for that, but I feel like if you post it on Twitter, like it's just a free-for-all, so we claim ownership. And Kylo Finn is in there as well. So we will see how that goes. We'll see who will be the first to die. We don't know. But
Kylo Finn is my OTP, actually.
I certainly hope not. Anyway, that's fish. That's got fuck all to do with what you were saying. So let's get back to that. I'm trying to find see. You don't have your stream VOD up on YouTube anyway, yet, do you? Because it's a long ass thing.
No, it's still trying to go up. It has 2 minutes left of the upload, but then it has to process. So whatever.
Which will take like about a week probably.
Yeah,
for something of that size.
Like 4 hours long.
Do you not? Am I the only person who uses the like highlight then just export to YouTube feature? Am I?
I mean, you must be, because like that barely ever works for me. It just says upload failed.
All the
upload
time,
failed.
and it looks fine for me.
Really? Huh. Yeah. I mean, I tend to record on this end just because if you have like any lag at all or you drop any frames, that's going to be in the VOD. But if you record locally, you don't have that problem.
Oh, I never give a shit about that.
That's fair.
That's the difference.
I didn't expect you to. Yeah.
I'm like,
Jesse and editing in the same sentence.
The lag.
I wanted to, specifically in this situation, I wanted to add a disclaimer because during my stream, I never said like, by the way, this was sent to me for free. So I wanted to add that disclaimer on the actual video.
I don't think you have to disclose that because you're not actually reviewing the product. But
it was because they had reached out to me saying, "Hey, are you interested in making content for it?"
Okay, that's all right. That's different.
We'll send you a copy for the purpose of making content in exchange. And I was like, "Cool! I wanted to play this on stream anyway."
Yeah. Did you get it early, or they're just like, "We're going to give you a $60 game in return for thousands of dollars of promotion"? Is that what happened?
I did get it early, yeah.
All right, that's fair then. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm just making sure. I'm just watching out for you. I'm just looking out for
you.
I
appreciate it.
I deal with these PR bastards all the time. You know? And I deal with less of them now because I keep calling them PR bastards. So Chris tends to deal with them. But they love to go with that. It's like, hey, you want a free video game? I'm like, oh, God, another one? I was like, all we want from you, 2 videos averaging about 400,000 views each. That seems like a reasonable trade. I'm like, no, you should be paying me for this shit. That's how it works, mate.
TotalBiscuit. I can't believe you are so full of yourself.
If I was not, then I would be less of a man and less of a content creator.
Oh, I thought you were going to say less of a biscuit.
I'd be less of that too.
We were waiting for the good joke.
Let's just say it would be a little crummy.
There we go, my man.
There you go. There we go. All right, we'll take Jim Sterling's footage instead of yours then. There we go. All right, cool. Tell me about this as we keep derailing your great description of this.
It's totally fine. There's only 3 of us, so we got to goof hard today.
We do. That is true, yeah. And that's entirely my fault. I thought I had a guest book this week, and I realized, oh, actually, that's for next week. Shit. And I was like, and I went to like Pyrian Flax at the last minute saying, dude, we really could use a guest, and the Dota 7.0 patch is up. And he's like, I'd love to do it, but, that's 3 hours, and, I actually have a family and stuff like that. That's totally fair. I fucked up here. This is not your fault. We'll have him on next year at some point. I'm still
next
interrupting.
Year makes it sound so bad. Well,
that's only in 3 weeks, man, if you can believe it.
I know. What happened?
2016's just trying to get itself over with as quickly as possible.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. All right, let's stop interrupting.
So,
we are delaying The Last Guardian more than the fucking developers did. Come on. Ba-boom!
Ba-boom!
It's good.
So I think Jesse talked about it a little bit last week. Mm-hmm. I will say I totally understand, and this isn't a spoiler, I totally understand the good and the bad response to this game.
Like I was trying to explain last week, but,
Yeah, it's... people are saying, oh, well, the controls are janky, the camera is weird, it has frame rate problems, and I'm like,
it definitely does.
Yes, it has all of those. It's an ICO game, so yes, the controls are garbage and the camera's garbage.
Yeah,
and it does every now and then just like stutter and then keeps going, and I'm like, okay, there it is.
Quite a few PS4 games in particular have been having this issue lately, like Final Fantasy. It's like has. Not only that, but irregular frame rate timing, so the frames are not displayed at a consistent speed. So they're like it goes all over the place. It feels like really. Anyway.
Yeah. What I will say though is that this game does weigh much more heavily on the good for me because it is just very magical feeling. I could literally sit there and just watch Toriko.
I told you.
It's beautiful. Forever. I mean, it is beautiful in many ways.
The way that Toriko is animated is insane to me. He acts like an animal.
Yes.
It like weirds me out. I'm like, holy shit.
There's some uncanny valley stuff going on there, isn't there? Like it feels like this is unusually accurate.
Yeah. I think anybody who has a dog or a cat watching Toriko is going to be like, this is weird.
I told you.
Weird.
It's too real. It's too much like owning a pet, the video game. Is what it is.
And you walk into places sometimes and he shoves his little head in and like moos at you. like is sad that you're leaving. And you're like, Toriko, I'm sorry. Because he is so realistic, you feel terrible leaving him alone. You feel like he makes these sounds and you're like, I'm sorry. I have to solve this puzzle or we can't keep going. Like, I don't know.
That's what Team Ico's been trying to do, like since Shadow of the Colossus. They tried to do the same thing with Agro, the horse.
Yeah.
They wanted you to feel like it was a real horse. Like, and that's where some of that complaining about the controls comes in. And I'd love to hear your perspective on it, because there's a few people that have argued, well, it's supposed to be like that. And I think that's a very interesting discussion. It's like, this is intentionally bad, but...
I would say, I think some of the frustration is intentional, but there are definitely times where I can tell I have to look at a very specific spot and give a command in order for that command to happen. And I think that that's unnecessarily frustrating, right? Like, one of the big elements to the game, right, is that you're trying to learn how to communicate with Toriko. And as you progress through the game, you're able to communicate better and better is like the idea. But there are times where you're like, I need you to do this there. And he just kind of shuffles around. And I'm like, am I asking him to do the wrong thing? Or did I not look in the exact spot that I need to look in order for that to happen? And that's really frustrating because it's really hard for you to identify where you're going wrong when you're trying to solve something. And that winds up being very frustrating. I've gotten stuck a few times being like, I don't know if I'm not asking him to do it correctly or if I need to ask him to do something else or if I'm coming at this the wrong way.
That's the biggest problem with the game, is that because the controls are so frustrating, sorry, but the game mechanics are based off of the frustration of teaching a pet,
the unreliability of communicating with something that doesn't understand you completely.
There's a lot of times where you can't tell whether it's the game's mechanic, which is like, oh, the game's making it difficult because I can't communicate with the pet, or I just don't know how to do this exact thing correctly. And so you're stuck in this weird area of like, is it broken or am I just an idiot? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's been a few games that have done that. I'm trying to come up with like another example. I think like there were elements of Spore that were like that because you know we'd heard a lot about how Spore was going to have so much emergent behavior and all that sort of thing. I mean, fuck. Let's go back even further. You remember Creatures?
Oh Jesus,
yeah. Remember that? Like that had the Creature games had similar issues because like the creatures have their own intelligence, they have their own AI, and they have to learn from you. You have to teach them things like, and I'm like, dude, is the game just broken or is this creature just idiot? Like, did I get Down's creature? Like, what's wrong? Like, what's going on here? Something like that. And any game that has that sort of element of weird AI is always going to run into that potential problem unless you're very clear through like the interface, like he doesn't understand you. Instead of saying, well, the game's broke then, you know, but you know that a game like Shadow of the Colossus is not going to do that. Last Guardian, they don't want to throw interface elements at you on the screen. They want to show as much of the world as possible without interfering with you.
Right. I think it's it's pretty easy because of that. It's pretty easy to excuse when you're trying to get Toriko to do something and it's not working out. But I do also think that the controls for the boy are stupid.
Yeah, and that is not excusable. Like,
yeah, I don't think that they're super intuitive. I hit the wrong button all the time. Or here's a thing that I will not understand ever. I walk up to something to grab it, and he climbs on top of it instead. And I'm like, I'm hitting the fucking grab button, game. What's going wrong here? That's happened so many times, and I don't know how to keep it from happening, but it drives me mad. So the controls just in general, I don't think are super intuitive. And yeah, because there is this huge element of you're trying to talk to a thing that doesn't know how to talk to you. It winds up being frustrating. But again, it's just so like magical. And I really love the whole universe. And I love, I think honestly that the pacing is really good. Like they introduce either new elements or new aspects to the world often enough that you're like, oh shit, what's this all about? Right. So I'm super engaged story-wise. And I love Toriko, but I just fucking hate the controls. So I'm going to stick with it and I'm going to be pissed off the whole time.
Yeah, and it's okay to criticize it for that. And I think, like, you're right on the subject of, like, how the boy controls. There is no excuse for that. That it's like, well, it's intentionally bad. No, come on. It's a 3D platformer for all intents and purposes.
Because he's a little boy who hasn't hit puberty yet, and he doesn't understand his body. And
that's bullshit, because not only did Shadow of the Colossus do that.
Did anyone say that real, though, for, like, real? Was that it?
No.
Okay, all right.
I was mimicking
a bit of a straw man, but
desperately
you get the point, though.
All right, I thought some reviewer said that. I was going to be like, we need to stop this person right now.
This person needs to be kicked out of the community.
We could always assume that one of them will say something that dumb, but a lot of it comes down look, in Shadow of the Colossus, they try to make both, you can argue that the horse controls in that, weirdly enough, it's split down the middle as to opinion. Some people think the horse controls are the fucking worst ever, and some people think this is the best interpretation of a horse because it's got real momentum. It doesn't fucking run off a cliff because it's a fucking horse and knows not to do that. Whereas, and the horse like, whee! Like, no, a horse would never, ever do that. It acts like an actual animal. I lean on the side of the horse controls were good. And thankfully, most of the time in Shadow of the Colossus, the horse is just used for getting from point A to B. So
and
it
emotions.
Yeah, and it has emotions. And emotional carnage, yes, true. And the way that the main character moves is pretty good too. Like, he'll stumble a bit. But like, think about this year's a great example. Think about Inside. Think about the way that the boy moves in Inside.
Yeah.
And you've got there an incredibly well animated character who moves like a boy would. He's a bit clumsy, he's got short legs, but it doesn't affect how well you can control him. Like, you don't feel, in my eyes, frustrated by the way he controls. That's
the thing, is even the boy in The Last Guardian has that element to him where like he'll trip and he'll do things where you're like, oh my god, he's like a for reals boy who's trying to run all over the place, right?
Yeah.
But the disconnect between you look like you're controlling well. But me, as the person who's holding the controller, knows that that's not true. You know,
you have to be careful when you do the whole realistic clumsiness thing. I think you can mostly keep it aesthetic. I mentioned last week I was talking a little bit about Nier because we'd mentioned Nier Automata. Nia's character, if you ever play that, moves in a very realistic way. But again, that's a kind of Zelda-esque, and it's got some platform elements to it. That never gets in the way of you actually controlling him. It's just like the tripping and the sort of, staggering and sprinting, that's all cosmetic. So it has no mechanical impact. It's just about how it looks. I don't know. I might wait to see what they do with the performance of this thing. It seems really uneven right now, and I'm not in the mood to play something that doesn't run very well. This PS4 Pro over here is still a coaster. Although I did turn it on, and it took about a day to fix the fucking PlayStation Network shit with it, just to download Let It Die, which I have yet to actually play yet. But
I can't wait to hear what you have to say about that, because that game is so hit and miss.
Mm-hmm. Really?
It's a Suda 51. No, it's not Suda 51. It's sweary, right? Is it sweary or Suda 51? I can't remember. Let me check.
I don't know which one of those it is.
I don't know. Sam and I were watching people playing it earlier, though.
Sam will love it. It is
Grasshopper. It's Suda 51. Yeah.
Sam will love that game. It is his kind of pain. But man, like the aesthetic and everything about it is like real fun, real silly, but very Dark Soulsy kind of. So.
Well, yeah, you're like climbing up a tower, right? And you can potentially run into other players and like fight to the death. Like it's got all those Dark Souls elements game, to it,
which you would not think that it would be, but they went with a free-to-play model with it, which is bizarre.
Yeah.
How do they make money?
Good question.
It's
cool.
I haven't played it yet, so I've got it sitting on the hard drive waiting to actually get around to playing it. But Slowbeef was telling me that one of the main ways is like they sell revives so that like you don't lose certain items when things go badly for you. But from what I can tell, it's not really a competitive game anyway. It's more PvE with a little bit of PvP in there.
You don't need, like, the items they sell, you don't need. Like, it's nothing that you require, and it's nothing that I've been like, boy, I wish I had that right now. I haven't ever had that moment where I was like, man, I want that so bad. I haven't, which is okay. I mean...
But for the most part, like, it's Dark Souls-y kind of combat, right? You know, very heavy, very deliberate.
Yeah, it is, like, you get tons of different, like, the weapon choices are insane. You have 6 weapons, like, at the bottom of the screen, you have 6 weapons you can equip, and you can cycle through them, 3 for each hand. And so you can have anything from a pistol to a buzzsaw to a giant axe to like a dagger. Like, the weapon choices are insane, and all of them do different damages and attack in different ways, and they're different. And like each enemy type you come across can only be defeated by certain types, or you will die very quickly. Like, you need to know what each enemy can be killed by. And at first I was like, oh, this buzzsaw is great. I walk up and just saw him down. It looks awesome. Until you get a guy who, when he gets hit, slaps your ass across the room.
Oh, shit.
Fun.
Okay, so I should use my gun until you pull out the gun and realize that some enemies move way faster than your targeting ability is. So you turn to fire and you're just miss. And you're like, okay, so I need to rethink all of this. So you figure a gun would be an amazing... Gun's not that great. If it's slow and big, awesome, use a gun. If it's big and fast, you're fucked. So you have to learn like all these weapons to use with different bosses and different enemies.
Shit breaks really fast as well, right? Like
everything does. Yeah,
it's very that's one of the things that got me interested in it, because it reminded me of the original Dead Rising, and the idea that you have to pick up and use what's nearby, and you got to be very careful. If you've got a really good weapon that's close to breaking, you got to be really careful where you use it. I was also told the game actually runs pretty well too. It's a 60 frames game on PS4 Pro, so I'm like, okay, cool. And, you know, if it's a bit Dark Soulsy but also a bit weird, yeah, sure, okay.
Yeah, all the items you pick up is
run into anything to fight yet.
Yeah, it's just come up now. This is Rorokan's gameplay footage in the background. He was reading a bunch of stuff about like a 21-year-old pro gamer or something like that. Like, all right, this is gonna have some weird lore, isn't it? Grilled frog is apparently something you can eat.
Yeah, what you do is while you go through the level. Yeah, while you go through the level, you find frogs and rats and shit on the ground, and that's your food source. You can get mushrooms, and they'll give you like buffs or like speed or health or so all the things you're like searching for shit on the ground as well, and you have to like sneak up on it and grab it, or else it'll run away, or you can kill it, whatever.
Very much like the crystal lizards in Dark Souls.
The enemies are not you're not gonna get. It's not a horde game. They're like you'll come into a room. There might be 3 enemies in there, but they're all like going to be tactically different in some way, or one guy's going to be in the back shooting you while 2 other guys are running at you. There's a lot of goofy shit in this game too. Shit, like one of the levels was an amusement park, and so there's creepy rides and weird stuffed animals around. But generally, it's like the items you find when it comes to armor is all random. So each time you play, you're going to get different stuff. And so one time I looked like a freaking barbarian, but one time I actually had like camo gear on.
Buzzsaw knuckles, holy shit. Explosive mushrooms apparently in this game as well. I'm trying to skip through this gameplay. I'm mostly seeing inventory management, which does concern me a little bit, I have to admit.
It's definitely how you keep yourself alive.
Right.
One of the big selling points of this game for me, at least, is the fact that the music, the soundtrack to this game is fucking amazing. It's TB, you will love it. Actually, Dodger will love it more because it's metal, but it's like J metal. So
there are times when I like J metal, although there are times when it gets a little silly, I'll admit.
You know the perfect example?
Oh my god, that's Death on a Skateboard.
Metal Gear Revengeance soundtrack is exactly.
Oh right. Well, I'm all in on that. You fucking kidding me? That's one of my favorites.
It's we when we went to go play this at PlayStation Experience, we were in line for like an hour, and they played the entire soundtrack to this. It was the easiest wait I've ever been in. It was so good. Yeah. So another thing is, not only do you have death, like crazy death with you the entire time, it's like you're like, hey, I'm crazy and I'm your buddy and I'm gonna get you through this. But there's a character that when you die, you know, in Splatoon, at the end of the victory thing, the cat comes up and he's like, yeah. There's like a sexy flight attendant who pops up and is like, do you want to continue or not? It's really silly and funny.
This weirdly enough looks right up my alley. I did not expect to say that about a fucking Suda game. I mean, although like No More Heroes was pretty damn fun, I have to admit. Killer 7 was worth playing to say that you've played Killer 7. I don't know if you really play Killer 7 or if Killer 7 plays you, but yeah, you got to admit, like, he makes some unusual stuff. The aesthetic of these games is always a bit weird. This is like the most realistic looking one he's done. I saw some people complain, like, oh, it looks like a PS3 game. Yeah, but it runs well, so I don't give a fuck.
It does look dated. Even like playing it live, it looks a little dated. But that it doesn't. If you can get behind the like what the game is, it's super fun. But man, do I suck at games like this. So
I probably will too.
From.
Yeah, I will be one of the whales for the microtransactions for reviving myself. I can probably guarantee that because I'll be so shit at it.
Yeah,
it does look good though. Yeah, it is. I'm intrigued.
This looks fun.
I don't know why, for the most part, you seem to be in very short booty shorts, but okay. Well,
that's like the way you start originally is you're almost naked. Okay, basically.
Sure.
I cannot even.
Oh, he's eating a rat. Sorry, keep going.
I was about to say, like, lore-wise, I don't think I'm far enough in to be able to tell you what the fuck is going on in this game. It is so bizarre.
It's a pseudo game. You're not gonna have a fucking clue, regardless of what you do. Yeah. Like, you'll just confuse yourself more by reading the stuff. It's like, what the? No, I don't know what's going on. Just go with it.
Yeah. I tried to figure out what was happening based on the setup they had at PlayStation Experience. I want to describe to you the cosplayers that were there for the PlayStation Experience booth. So you have all this metal going on in the background. They had a fake subway set up, and in the subway, Death was there with his like crazy googly eye glasses and a skateboard.
Did he have a skateboard? Yeah, there you go.
You can take a photo with him, and in the background was 5 cosplayers, all almost naked, hooked up to wires, like laying there pretending to be dead.
Okay.
Then there was a sexy nurse with like a neon mask and a sexy doctor with a neon mask.
All right.
And they were like, you know, so just imagine, this was great, by the way, sexy nurse, but then imagine a guy in the exact same outfit.
Right.
Like, yeah, there you go.
Perfect. And then there was like the like flight attendant chick, and then there was like a bunch of other guys dressed as bosses. And I was like, I can't tell you what the theme of this game is, but I'm so excited to play it. Like, yeah, it's whatever it is, they've nailed it. Whatever the aesthetic of this game is, it is perfect.
Great.
Yeah, that sounds really.
Is it only on PlayStation?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I might take the PS4. I mean, I got treatment on the next couple of days, so I'll be like laid up in bed. But I'm thinking maybe I take the PS4 Pro, plug it in the projector, and just have a weird Suda 51 experience. That might be a perfect time to do it.
The projector, I love it.
Oh yeah, just like 120 inches of Suda 51. That's like, is this a good idea for my psychological health? I don't know, but I'm willing to try it. I'll come back and report my results. See how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
That looks. Yeah, that's weirdly enough like one of the only console games I'm kind of excited about right now. Outside of, I'm waiting for the 60 FPS patch that they claim is coming to Final Fantasy 15 for PS4 Pro.
Oh, that'll be so nice.
That'll be lovely. But honestly, right now, from what I've heard, there are performance issues regardless of what you do. There's a light mode that already exists in the game. There's a ton of misinformation about this. I went to look to see if the 60 FPS patch was out, and there were like conflicting things like, oh, it's been out for ages, it's already there. You just select light mode, and I'm like, you sure about that? And then it goes like, no, light mode's also 30. These people just literally didn't know what they were talking about. But so apparently light mode makes it, like reduces some of the frame drops from 30. It keeps it constantly at 30, but it's got a so-called frame pacing problem, where the frames are displayed in irregular, what's the word? Yeah, just like a well-paced game should have a frame displayed at a set point, and it should be regular. That's what makes it feel smooth. If you fuck with that, then it's going to feel worse. Jesse's probably experienced that during Final Fantasy 15.
No, I'm a big fucking nerd, in case you weren't aware. I have my PlayStation 4 Pro here, because I wanted to beat Final Fantasy 15 that badly.
Did you take it with you in the suitcase?
I wrapped all my clothes around it. My clothes were the container vessel for the PlayStation.
Oh yeah, that's standard. Should do that.
I still experience weird like glitches and frame rate issues and stuff on PS4 Pro.
Yes.
It's I can't even describe to you why it would be like that, but there's moments where I'll be in the middle of a fight and suddenly it's just like, and then it keeps going. I'm like, okay, sure.
Strangely enough, I've heard that the PlayStation, both the PS4 and the PS4 Pro, have worse issues than the Xbox One does with this. And I'm not 100% sure why. Because those machines are very, very similar. It's not like, remember the Xbox 360 and the PS3 were like completely different architecture, and the cell processor was some fucking mystical arcane device that you had to unlock the secrets of, woo. But no, they're almost the same machine now. But apparently the Sony machines have worse issues with this than the Xbox does.
Why? Why would that have all the things? That's so dumb.
I was so confused because I finally started playing Final Fantasy 15 yesterday, and holy shit, that game is so fun. But there was a point last night, because I'm also playing it on a PS4 Pro. I was sitting on the couch playing it, and I was talking to Sam, and I was like, I don't understand how anybody's supposed to fucking fish in this black water. And Sam was like,
it's not supposed to be?
Yeah, he was like, wait, what do you mean the water's black? And I was like, look, the water is all black. And he was like, it's not supposed to look like that.
So it didn't load the texture? Fuck.
Yeah, so did like a force restart of the whole system, and now the water looks fucking gorgeous. I was like, I caught like 5 fucking fish in that black water, having no idea what was going on.
I wouldn't eat them. You don't know what's in them now. There's been some fracking going on.
Things that's been happening. It happens on the Pro and it happens on the normal PlayStation as well. Is that look, I play a lot of this game. After maybe 6 or so hours, every spell effect that Ignis does particleizes the entire screen. And at first I thought like, oh shit, I unlocked a cool buff. Nope, it's just
you unlocked a cool bug instead.
Yeah, everything goes. I'm like,
oh my god,
cool. So here's the thing. I want this to be my official Final Fantasy 15 review.
Right now?
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I haven't even beaten it. I already know what I'm going to say. It is a beautiful, glorious, wondrous clusterfuck. Final Fantasy 15. I have never enjoyed a game so much in my life that I could not tell you what the plot was. Think it's super broken. Think it's like everything about it is fucked up. Everything about me should hate this game, but god damn it, do I love those 4 boys and their misadventures.
Yeah, the sweet boys.
I can't not love this game. It is super silly and fun, but Fuck me if I'm chapter 7, 30 hours in. I don't know what the hell's going on. I couldn't tell you what the story was. They introduce characters who die in a second. I'm like, why give that person a name then? What? Like, oh, there's so much in this game that is jank, but god damn is it fun.
I love the way the combat looks. And not only like animation-wise does it look great, but a lot of the Final Fantasy games for me have had I don't like them because they have boring combat. And, you know, I ran into problems with that. But this is like more of a real-time sort of, you've got more control over what's going on sort of thing, which I much more appreciate.
It also, when Jesse was saying that playing Let It Die makes him feel like he has to be thinking about what weapon he uses, I also, in 15, feel like I have to think about what weapon I use.
No, don't even. Just embrace the insanity. Just hold down circle and just move shit around with this one. Oh. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. I love it.
I hate that magic debuffs everything. I hate that, like, if I use an ice spell, then literally all of my dudes are gonna also be slowed. Like, that makes me so irritated. I've
had more fights just staring at trees than I have actually like fought. Like the texturing, everything about this game is so jank. Why do I love it? Why? Like it's super fun.
There's something so fun about it.
Yeah,
I want to play it. I just want to wait for them to fix some of this shit and get the thing running at 60. Then I'll play it. Like, but it does look good.
There's so many. Yeah.
Jesse, can you confirm that Prompto eventually grows on you?
There's an amazing scene where Prompto comes to you at night and asks Noct to go like sit with him on a roof, and he tells him his entire like the cutest story about, like, you learn when they were younger, and you learn why Prompto's like such like he wants their attention so much because it's so cute, and you're like,
Aww.
It's super. But here's the thing: you have to just let go and like understand that this game is basically Animu the game. Like everything about it is. I mean, just
that's what I want. Top. Yeah.
I can't even, like, there's so many things in this game that are, all right, I'm just going to put this out there. You, the main character, Noctis, are engaged to Lady Luna Freya, who at chapter 7, I still have not encountered in the game, like met. Meanwhile, Gladio's little sister, this girl who should be named Iris, but is named Iris or whatever the hell her name is, she is not only in love with you, but all your friends are trying to set you up with this girl who you're on a road trip to go meet your wife. Like, this game is bonkers. Meanwhile, Cindy's like, hey, boys, how's it going? Cindy's
so sweet, though.
But she's a blatant piece of fan service, but like, I always feel like as well that the 4 main characters, the 4 boys are also fan service on the other side of it. It's like,
absolutely,
they are pretty as fuck. And you have, like, one for every kind of, like. So, I think...
Oh, yeah. Whatever you're into.
We have
boys.
We have a boy for you.
I also want to confirm I have a conspiracy theory, and I need evidence to prove this, but Cry and I are on the same page. In this game, Dodger can vouch for this, everyone, from NPC to player character, is beautiful. Even the old people are gorgeous. Like, model levels of gorgeous.
Even Sid, I'm like, you're a very handsome old man.
Everyone in this game is phenomenally fit and gorgeous and model-esque. There's a town where the only people who work are women, and those women wear midriffs and like hot pants to work. It is insane. It is a crazy game. But at one point, you meet a character who straight up looks like Hurley from Lost, and he's the only fat character in all this game, and I'm convinced it's some dude who won a fan contest, because there's literally no reason for him to exist in this world. He's the only fat dude in this world at all. And
does he look kind of like the guy in Kingsglaive? Is he supposed to be that guy?
He doesn't look like, I'm chunky dude. He's just a fat dude. But he looks like Hurley from Lost, and more importantly, he's like, I like collecting. First off, he has a fan servicey shirt that says Meteor Fan Club or some shit, whatever. But then he sends you to go collect photos for him so you can put him in his unofficial magazine. Like, straight up, I think this is just a guy who won a contest, and I fucking love it. I'm like, what is he doing in this world? It doesn't make sense. Also, yes, chat, you're right. Prompto was a fatty, but it doesn't matter.
I didn't know that. No spoils about character stories.
They never. You learn that from the.
Out of here.
You learn that from the anime, I believe. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway, the big point is that it doesn't matter if there are like people of various sizes in this world. In the game you're playing, he's the only one, and I'm convinced that this guy won a contest or like is the son of a guy who works there. Like, he is so out of place. And the best part is he's like, "Hey there, boys, how's it going? You want to give me some fun?" He always does this. "Hey there, I'm so hot today." It's like, all right.
Are you playing it in English?
Yes.
Apparently, the voice actor for Gladiolus is the same as Junkrat.
Really?
I don't know that's like, it's hard to tell. If that's the case,
that's what everybody is saying.
Well, I mean, surely that should be extremely easy to confirm by going on IMDb, right? Like,
yeah.
Let's find out. Shouldn't be too fucking hard.
Because I'm playing it in Japanese, and everybody was like, "You're missing the fuck out. Switch it immediately." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Well, so that's the Japanese actor. There are 3 different actors for Gladiolus, and I'm assuming this is just for the different versions of VO. Well, it's not Tobias Brecklinghaus, which is an amazing name, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Giles Morven is the one with more credits, but
Morven.
He's not in Overwatch either. He was in Watch Dogs. He's the French one. Christopher L. Parson, Junkrat, Overwatch. Yep, that's him.
Wow.
Yep. He's been in a ton
all
of
my
video
boys
games.
are actually the same boy. I found out today.
He's in World of Warcraft. He's in Deus Ex. Yeah.
That is yeah, also shout out to Cup Noodles and Final Fantasy.
I cannot believe how much product placement there is in this game.
When you camp, Coleman is everywhere. Like, your tent is, everything is branded. Here's the crazy thing that is nutso about it. They somehow managed to fit all that nonsense into this world, and you're like,
I was
well,
about
all right.
to say, isn't that a massive immersion breaker? If this is a fantasy fucking
world. It's not
world.
because the whole game is so modern.
Yeah.
Like, everything about the game is supposed
even though there's fucking
modern.
swords and dragons and magic and shit in it, you're okay with modern day, like, real product placement.
They've taken away all that. Like, the sword stuff, like the crystal thing, imagine it's steampunk but with crystal tech. Imagine that instead. And so magic is not magic in this anymore. It's like a bomb. You synthesize bombs with magical powers. So you have to like throw it and like plant it and then make new ones and like mix new. So you're not even like, you don't even have magic powers. As Noctis, you're the only person who has like, I have king powers, and that allows me to make magic swords and shit. But other than that, everyone else is Magitech and fucking robots and animals and cars and like.
I think the fact that they start you off at the very beginning, just like you're in modern clothes and you have a sports car, enjoy. Like it sets the tone in your mind for, oh, I'm basically living in like a modern society with monsters. Like that's the world that I'm in right now.
Yeah. And monsters only come out at night kind of deal. So most of the time it's just
though. That's not true.
Animals you can fight during the day. Those aren't monsters, just animals. But at night, like monsters, like demons and shit come out.
The demons.
Yes. Today I fought a lich. I was very excited. I was like, oh, it's not a fucking lich. And he was like, what up, bitch? I was like,
I got really cocky because I've been able to do so many hunts that are like 10 levels ahead of me. And then I just tried to do one and everyone was murdered with like one swipe. And I was like, oh, hot damn. Okay, never mind.
So for those who are curious, because I had to do my research on this because I'm still waiting for my Cindy skin for my car. That comes out on the 11th, apparently, which today's the 13th. So why don't I have it?
Priorities.
Hopefully eventually that'll come out. But more importantly, everyone who did the demo for the game was supposed to get Carbuncle. And Carbuncle's supposed to come out. And I'm like, oh, cool. When do I get Carbuncle? Because at the beginning, it's like, you have Carbuncle in your game. Apparently, after doing super amounts of research, you can only get Carbuncle's ability is to heal all your characters. You can only get access to him if you are close to death on easy mode, which super breaks my heart. And the only reason
dumb.
Yeah, but if you don't have him, he will show up like if you don't have him on normal because you're playing normal mode, he'll show up in pictures and photobomb you in pictures. So I have some pictures where Carbuncle's in the background like, what up? And I'm like,
Aww.
my baby boy. So, did we mention this game has photos? You can collect 150 of them and keep them forever, and it's the best.
And it apparently affects like actual parts of the story.
It's so good. It's so good.
I'm obsessed with finding all of the ingredients so that Ignis will be like, I've thought of a new recipe. And I'm like, oh yeah, boy.
I don't know if you do this, but every time he's like, I thought a new recipe. I'm like, every time, just like, got it. I love every one of these characters is so fucking lovable. I can't describe to you. It's less about the fantasy this time and more about just like I enjoy listening to these guys talk and have conversations about like there's one part of the game that just happened with me where the three of the guys are like on this like leaving town for a minute and they're like, where's Gladio? And they're like, oh, he's probably scoring with girls. And Prompto's like, oh, damn it. Like, I love shit like that. I'm like, you guys are cute.
I remember the first time that we talked about the game, Jesse, you said that it was really fascinating to play a Final Fantasy where it wasn't you start out on your own and you slowly collect people. And instead it's from the very beginning, you have a team of friends that you have a rapport with. And like there are all kinds of conversations that will happen when you're in cars, when you're just running around. Like there's countless conversations that happen if you're just willing to like hang out and listen to them. And it really does fill the world a lot. So I love that.
I would definitely say that if they started you out with you just play as Noct and had to go collect people, this game would suck. Like
it would, because Noct is. I mean, I love Noct. I love Noct.
What a whiny bitch. No.
I love Noct in the group. He's that character for the group, right? But if it was Noct by himself, yeah, I would just be like, God damn it, Noct. Like,
yeah.
Anyways,
that's an ensemble cast. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a video game.
That is a video game.
It is.
People are playing. Also, apparently, sometimes when you get that same texture problem with the water, it'll just be blood red.
Yeah, that's.
So you like walk up to a port and you're like, "What the fuck?" So just if that happens, maybe take a picture because it's good shit.
I kept playing, sort of on and off, still playing a bit of Watch Dogs 2. Still pretty much.
I'm glad that you're still enjoying that game.
Yeah. I'm not playing it in long sessions. I'm finding I'll dip in, I'll do a mission or two or an activity, and then just leave. But to be fair, that kind of feels okay. I did do my first online co-op mission, which was pretty cool. Which involved stealing a secret boat, which is the best kind of boat. And it involves sort of infiltrating a compound. And you can go in there. I don't know if you can get any more than 2 people. Every co-op mission I've seen has only been 2 people, but they'll pop up on the map as something you can go and do. You can try it yourself, but you'll find it's pretty fucking hard. So it was interesting to see the different approaches that myself and the other guy had. He was being very stealthy, very sneaky, and I'm like, I have a sniper rifle. Also, I just unlocked the ability to summon police to a location by putting a fake APB on somebody, and I got the ability to order a gang hit. So
what?
Damn.
One of the things I like the most about this game is you can force faction conflict between the several factions. There's a couple of like gangs. There's a big security corp that like protects CTOS for the most part, and then there's the police, and you can really start. A lot of people in this game are very trigger happy. Like, the security corporation will actually happily start shooting at the police, which seems like that wouldn't happen, but you can encourage a big fight between them and then go and sort of sneak behind it all, or just like throw a little stun device at the middle of it and it's like you didn't see this, or rig a electrical box to explode when someone walks near it, all that kind of thing. And with the 2 of us, we're able to do all sorts of things. Eventually, he ended up distracting most of the guards so I could sneak into the thing, find the right box to open so that I could unlock the door, and then jump in the boat and get the fuck out of there. And I was driving as fast as I could in this really awesome speedboat trying to get a location to deliver it, and I got sniped by a guy in a police helicopter, and the boat was just kind of floating out in the middle of nowhere. So I respawned, tried to get back there, but the other dude had stolen a sailboat, and had got the sailboat up near it and then just jumped from the sailboat into the speedboat and then just drove it into the location. It was pretty fun, actually. That and a combination of the different hacking challenges where you got the kind of PvP hacking that was in Watch Dogs 1, where it's like, there's a dude here, or a dude has invaded your game world and is hacking you, but you don't know who he is. Go and look around the area to find him, and if you find him, he has to escape, and you have to kill him. But if it's the other way around and you're the hacker, you're not allowed to kill your target, so you've just got to sort of try and fool them into thinking that you're a regular civilian. I think they probably took a bit of that from Assassin's Creed's multiplayer, which I thought was awesome, by the way, and they should totally bring back. It's fucking awesome game mode. And I've tried different ways of hacking people. I always tend to get found out about 50% of the way through. And just like, oh yeah, I'm in a car, or and I try to make sure I park the car in a way that an NPC would, instead of it being in the middle of the road at a slant. And there's like, that's a bit suspicious. And you can distract them by using hacks to set off things. Like, one of the hacks you get early on, you can control and hack any car in the game and make it do things, which, sure, why not? Including really old ones, because sure, why not? So right. I'll see the guy, and then I'll make a truck in front of him suddenly lurch forward, and then he'll think I'm in the truck, and all that kind of thing. So... Cool. You've got a lot more hacking stuff you can do this time around. Early on, you get a quadcopter drone that you can upgrade and fly that around and hack shit. You can get a little roller drone, which is straight out of Rainbow Six Siege, which you can upgrade. You can have that shock people as well. You just go up to someone behind them and just do a fucking full-on R2-D2 on them and, just zip, 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 and knock them out with it. Can
we go back for a minute?
Sure.
To when you were playing with this other guy?
Yeah.
Do you know this person, or was this just someone who showed up to play with you?
So on the map, there are co-op missions that are marked on the map, and you can just go there and you hit I want to play, and it'll find someone, and they'll immediately teleport. Or it's seamless as well, which is pretty good. I think you either teleport into their world or they teleport into yours, and the guy suddenly appears and is basically a player character in your world. And he sticks around for as long as you want the session to. Like, he'll even stick around afterwards. You go driving together, go do activities together and stuff, go ride bikes, or all that kind of thing.
All I'm saying is I really want to see a show featuring you and this other guy, because you sound like the odd couple in that you
went to buddy cop
like
thing.
I'm visualizing you jump in a speedboat, like, let's get out of here, and then you look over and he's getting the sailboat ready. Ready.
Yeah, it has VoIP, but I had VoIP turned off, so we didn't really work together in a logical way.
Yeah.
I was pretty sure he wanted to go the super sneaky, hacky route, and I was just like, I have a sniper rifle, and I'm going to summon the gang execution and start a fight. Let's go.
Sounds like a perfect show I would watch. I would watch that Let's Play. It's like, let's get out of here, and he's like, hold on, I'm getting my sails up.
Yeah, but it worked pretty well. I heard there were some problems on launch with the way the multiplayer works, but that worked pretty well. So there's supposed to be kind of emergent multiplayer events that pop up. I've never seen those. Like the hacking and the bounties where you have to go hunt someone down who's been chased by the police who's actually another player. Those will they move around the map, but they're sort of there's always at least one of them that you can go to, and an invasion can happen on you at any time if you have that turned on. So you don't have to go anywhere to be invaded by a hacker, obviously. But there's supposed to be these DedSec online events. I haven't seen any of those, and they're supposed to be more emergent, weird activities. But I mean, outside of that, like the single player is still pretty fun. I just did a mission where it was basically stealing Knight Rider's car for all intents and purposes.
Perfect.
Kit.
Yeah, it was pretty much Kit, but modern day Kit, and they'd gone full cheese with it. And it was like that you went to your hacker friends. They said, there's a new trailer for, like, Cyber Hacker Man Cop or whatever. And you watch it.
I'd watch that.
And then people start complaining about the inaccuracies. And it's like, we should steal the script and then make our own version of it and steal the car and all that kind of thing. And you send this full-on, we are anonymous, we are Legion cringe message. So it's like, we are DedSec. You believe this is what hackers truly are. We find this insulting. Da-da-da. And it's the level of cheese is like, I'm playing hackers in 2016.
Yes.
I'm playing Hack the Planet. Like, I'm waiting for Serial Killer to show up at any moment and tell me about your P6 chip, which is triple the speed of a Pentium or whatever. Like, it's that. That's what it is. It's a giant cheese ball of a game. And because it's a giant cheese ball of a game, it's way more fucking fun than the original is. Way more. if you could just accept that this is basically hackers in 2016 with a weird penchant for mass spree killing, which is a bit...
Just like the movie.
Just like the movie.
Just like hackers.
The game would be a lot better if there was less of the spree killing shit. Like, in the...
Says the dude who was like, I don't know why you're trying to hack when I have a sniper.
I take the path of least resistance. I've told you about this. My sniper rifle is very good at getting rid of people. All I'm saying is that's what it's for. But I don't roleplay this shit. But it would be better if it was less of that. Once you find the DedSec HQ, which is very early in the game, there's a guy who's an engineer there. He's the guy with the mask, by the way, with the emoticons on it, who people thought would be a shitty character. He's actually a hell of an entertaining character. He's just really enthusiastic about nerdy shit, and that's wonderful. And there's another character in there that I think is a surprisingly good take on autism. And that's it. You got to be very careful with that.
Right.
But I've worked with autistic kids before, and honestly, that guy actually is a very good interpretation and representation of what a certain kind, bear in mind autism is a vast spectrum of sorts of people, and not autistic people are not all the same. He's very Asperger's in this, he doesn't get social cues. He will never understand sarcasm if you're using that in a conversation. And he's very actually that's wrong kind of thing. Like he'll get obsessed about little details. I'm like, yeah, I do recognize that. I've known quite a few people who are like that. That's actually a very good interpretation of that, which is why when I hear people say that the writing is very cringe, I actually view it as a very opposite. I have an opposite opinion. I think there's actually quite a lot of good character development nuance in there and a good character variety. Anyway, besides all of that, the reason I was mentioning it is because when you get the DedSec HQ, Wrench, who's the guy with the emoticon mask, is your engineer. It's like, oh yeah, we have a 3D printer that can print gadgets. I'm like, that's cool. So you go there and you print your first little roller drone out. I'm like, right, that's cool. But then it's like, oh yeah, I also designed a bunch of really dangerous weapons that include assault rifles, automatic shotguns, machine guns, and everything. Like, whoa! You're not a hacker group. You're a fucking terrorist group at this point.
Totally.
But you find it very. But you're very happy-go-lucky about how that is the one thing that I think could have. Take the guns down a little bit. If you want to get guns, go have them. You steal them from places or whatever. Don't have you 3D print an arsenal of really dangerous weapons. Have you do improvisational stuff.
Yeah, because then it would have given you the option, right, to like develop that, to go out and be like, I'm gonna choose to do these side quests that will get us weapons and take us in that direction, instead of it being like, we have weapons, by the way.
That's weird, because the game has that research element to it. Like, as you gain followers for your social media thing and get more people to download the DedSec app, which gives you a bigger like botnet and stuff, which is a cool element to it, you get research points, and there's a bunch of different trees, and certain research requires you to find key parts of research, which usually involves like a stealth mission where you sneak into here and find this piece of research that can let you do this. But that's not connected to your ability to 3D print automatic shotguns. Those are all available from the very start of the game. They're just gated by money. If you got enough money, you can get a grenade launcher right off the bat. You don't research for that. There are some researchers that'll upgrade your stuff, but a lot of it otherwise, like, okay, you want to upgrade your stun gun, you got to do research and all that kind of thing, but you can get a grenade launcher, like, as long as you got the cash for a grenade launcher, you just print one, which is a bit odd.
I feel like this is a game that would have benefited from a more dynamic approach to guns, in that your hacker group, I think it would have been awesome if your hacker group didn't really have an opinion on the subject, but you as like the main character, the more guns you got, the more violent you were, if the people in your inner circle would like respond to that, like,
I love that idea.
You killed a bunch of fucking people. Like, that's not what we're about. I feel like that would have added another level.
I wonder if that is later on in the story. Maybe there is a part of that, but it would be great if that was actually dynamic and there were different members of the group that had different approaches, different opinions on the use of violence. There are 3 different play styles, and I never really like it when games say, oh, there's 3 play styles for you to choose from. It's like ghost, aggressor, trickster, which really just, that's sort of a very artificially limiting way of saying you are defined by one of 3 things. But obviously ghost is like, you don't get seen, you sneak. Trickster's more, I use hacks and, I blow up electrical boxes to stun people, and I can force a phone to be a Samsung Note 7 and melt down in someone's pocket and electrocute them. You can actually do that.
No.
Which is pretty cool. I like doing that in the middle of a random crowd of people to see what fucking happens. But I imagine there's probably part of the story that does that. Weirdly enough, I've put like 7-8 hours in the game and it claims my story progression is like 3% because I've been doing mostly side shit. Which actually, in my opinion, is a sign of a good open world game.
Yeah, absolutely. If you feel compelled to do things that have to do with the world you've been given that aren't just the linear story, then yeah, the open world is doing its exact job.
There's just some really well fleshed out side activities in it. The Uber, which I mentioned earlier, is called Driver San Francisco, which is a lovely reference. Game's actually full of really cool references. There's this awesome mission where you go and hack Ubisoft. And there's references to Kotaku. Did I tell you about that? The references to games journalism that's in the game.
Oh, no, but I do know that there's if you hack a specific computer, you see like an actual Ubisoft trailer for a game that they haven't really.
Yeah, but the cool part of that is before you do that, you go and hack one of the PR guy's phone and he's getting yelled at by one of the execs. And they're like, we leaked, Syndicate leaked, Unity leaked, and then one other game which they throw in a fictional game. Right. It's like, wait a minute, are you metagaming me here? Like, is this an announcement of an announcement or whatever? Yeah. That's real, and I found that really fucking cool. That was like, hey, this is me. It's a game aimed at people that play video games, which is nice. You're not pretending to be anything else. That was a really cool mission. But the side activities, Driver San Francisco, which is basically you become an Uber driver, is a full-on app on your smartphone. And there's a ton of Uber missions that all have different characters in it. And they all have their own little story. And you get to talk to them. And it's kind of like playing Crazy Taxi in a way. Some of the guys want you to drive really fast. Some of you want to do stunts, so you want to be really careful. There's, I'm going to get you to a hospital because, someone's having a baby kind of thing. There's one where you have a race with autonomous cars from their version of Google, and the Google engineers kind of in your car saying, we're going to race the autonomous cars and all that kind of thing. There's, ones that yell at you about politics and all that kind of other stuff that
real Uber drivers.
Yeah. It's the true Uber experience, and it's actually a lot of fun to do because there's leaderboards for it and everything. It's just so well fleshed out. It's been really pleasant surprise playing this game up to this point, not having a lot of expectations going in, and that's what makes me a bit sad that it's not selling that well. But simultaneously, I don't blame people because they got burned so hard in the last one. You can't really blame people for being suspicious of this. But I think maybe it's going to have a bit of a longer tail. Ubisoft mentioned this, actually. They said, we think this game is going to have a long tail. Because that's what the Rainbow Six Siege had. People are really skeptical of Siege.
People are still, obsessed with Siege.
It's fucking good. It's so good. And it started off being pretty good, but buggy and full of hackers, which was a problem. But a lot of people had a very negative opinion of Siege because it's like, we didn't want this from Rainbow Six. We wanted a full single player. We wanted Rogue Spear again. We wanted Raven Shield again.
Right.
Which doing that on console is really hard, and people do need to think about that. Or even just say, hey, we want a Vegas game. We just want a single player game. But it's a very, very good multiplayer game, and they put a shit ton of support behind it, and it's so much better than it was. So that game's had a longer tail where it now has a bigger player base than it did on launch, which is highly unusual for a lot of games. So maybe this will happen with this.
The Division's King of the Kill version that's inside of Division is apparently really good too.
It's very good. I'm enjoying the hell out of survival mode for that. It's great to stream for obvious reasons. Because people love the tension of it. It feels very tense to play, and I found it very enjoyable.
It's like you start off with nothing, right? And you have to scrounge around and
find
find
pistol.
Things.
Yeah, it's very crafty, but there's also elements of the elements. You've got to craft warmer clothes because otherwise you can freeze to death. That's a big risk. Getting food and drink, you're going to make sure you don't dehydrate. And all the time you've been infected by a disease. Right. So you can take painkillers and meds to stave it off for a bit, but ultimately there's a time limit, which is quite a long one. It's about 2 hours that you have to get out before the disease kills you, basically. So yeah, they have survival elements in it, but it is really cool to do that. And there's the distrust element is really there when you play the PvP. You're just like, can I trust this guy? Shall we party up? and the proxy voice over IP, the proximity VoIP helps a lot in that? Or do I just shoot him in the back and take his shit?
Yeah.
Most of the time, you shoot him in the back and take his shit. That's
do you
the best
think,
way to do it.
Like, I never played The Division at all, but I'm interested in the survival mode of it because it sounds really intriguing. Do you think that I could easily, like, learn how survival works without having played the game before?
Yes. And it'll only, you've got to unlock your home base to get it, which only takes about 10, 15 minutes. Once you have the home base, you never have to leave that area again if all you're going to do is play survival mode, because the status of your character doesn't affect survival mode at all, which is lovely. It's a great equalizer, because everyone starts with the same shit. You have no skills. Levels are irrelevant. So, yes, you could, and you'd probably enjoy it, because, as I mentioned in my video, the survival mode of this is the best King of the Hill Battle Royale Hunger Games game that's currently out. Because all the others are in early access and they're buggy and they're not very well polished. This is really well polished and it feels great and it looks great and it's super fucking fun. You know, someone in chat just made a great example. It's like, it's Escape from New York, the video game. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, pretty much. Except without Snake in it. It's good. It's pretty good. Obviously, getting that plus the season pass can be a bit pricey, but I know they knocked the main price of the game down, so that makes it a bit more
doable,
palatable. Yeah. Yes, I think that's really good. I don't like the rest of the Division, but that mode is very good. And I know Force has been playing a shit ton of it, and he loves it. And it is a great little survival mode. Really cool. So, you know, Ubisoft has been doing pretty well when it comes to improving
trying,
their
man.
Stuff. They are. Yeah,
they are.
They're trying to make better games.
Yeah, the latest controversy is that For Honor is going to require an online connection, which...
Oh.
I mean, there's...
But isn't it entirely multiplayer?
It has a campaign.
There's a campaign.
It does? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
we don't know to what extent. Like, we haven't seen a great deal of it. We saw, like, half of one mission of it, so we don't know if that's going to be a priority, and I actually kind of hope that it won't be. I don't care. But
it's definitely not, but it is pretty fleshed out. Like, it has a ridiculous, nonsensical story to try and make it so, like, oh yeah, this is why all three of them are fighting. But it's like, it's fun, but the main focus is the multiplayer, 100%.
Yes, yeah. And it does sort of suck that there is that always-on connection. I feel like that's become less of an issue over the course of the years because people have just sort of come to accept it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to servers, shit always breaks. This happens. It generally doesn't last that long, but shit breaks. And if I can't, on launch, play my single-player game because of some weird always-online multiplayer requirement that doesn't necessarily need to be there, that's going to be an issue. So if they lose sales because of that, that's their own fucking fault.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, let's go a break. When we come back, we'll talk about more games we've been playing.
And Snake Plissken.
Yeah, but a lot of we are the premier Snake Plissken podcast.
Surfboarding tidal wave
on Twitch right now. There is no other place that you can find this Snake content. I'll make that abundantly clear to you. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. You watch the Co-Optional Podcast.
Plissken.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Co-Optional Podcast. For some reason, I played about a minute of ambient burning noises before we came back. Not quite what I was aiming for.
Great.
I queued up some holiday music, and I have, holiday music. It's a bunch of, like, OC remixes that are associated with that, and I have a feeling that I messed that up a little bit. Just call it a lovely Christmas fire. You know, it's burning logs by the fire, stockings, that kind of thing.
Of course,
you know,
yes.
Christmas burning down of the house and all the presents and the upset children. Not that.
Right. No. Panic basket.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what
something along those guys.
Mm-hmm.
One could say that this podcast is lit. So say the kids. I still don't know what that means. Apparently, I'm not woke enough. What? What is happening?
I think you're pretty woke.
Base TB is not woke.
I strongly disagree. You cuckface. Something.
Yep.
Nailed it.
Yeah. Okay. Video games?
Yes.
What you got?
Oh my god. I don't got.
I want you to talk now so I can eat this delicious yogurt.
Oh my god. Except for Final Fantasy, the only other game I played this entire week besides Dishonored, which I still love, is Shadow Tactics.
Yeah, tell me about that one.
Yo, I played one level of it. That's all I know. That's all.
Is that good, huh?
No, here's the thing. It's really, really good, but it is a
fucking
patience game and a tactical game and a strategy game. And when you try to do that for Fan Friday, that shit do not work. So
you made a mistake there. Yeah, that game is something of a spiritual successor to the old Commandos series. There was also a game called Desperados, which is like a Western version of that. And there was a Robin Hood version of it, I think called Robin Hood Legend of Sherwood or something like that. Yeah. And there hasn't been a version of that for a while, and really those games are all about, you have a small squad of, people, and they all have different abilities each, and using that small squad of people, you gotta sneak around and accomplish the objective, but if you get spotted, shit's dangerous. You can die fast. They were very, very hard games.
It is, the thing with this one is, it's in feudal Japan, and you play as a samurai, and a old sniper badass, and a ninja. There's a little tanuki girl. There's all sorts of cool stuff you can be. But anyway, the whole point is you're sneaking and you're strategically killing guys or not killing them and hiding their bodies and trying to get the levels. And if you are spotted, the cone of vision enemies have is insane. There's been times where I thought I was across the map and killed a guy, and I was like, how the fuck did he see me? But then I realized, in real life, you probably would have been seen. It isn't like Dishonored or some shit where I can knock it out, and 10 feet away there's another guy who's like, doop, doop,
where
doop,
people
doop.
are wearing horse blinders basically all the time. Everyone has a 45 field of view corner vision. It's no, in real life they would have fucking seen you. Yeah, Commandos was like that as well. It is hard stealth,
and it's all about learning from that mistake. So all right, well, I killed this guy, but everyone saw it, so okay, how do I go about doing this again? Is there another way? And it's just, for me, it was trial and error until I figured it out. But then when I did figure it out, I was like, oh shit, look at me being a badass. And so it has that mechanic of, at least when you succeed, you feel like you've earned that success. So I love that about it.
There's quite a few different ways to accomplish those goals as well, which gives it a ton of replayability, and it means that as long as you execute the strategy well, chances are you'll make it work. But yes, trial and error was a big part of those older games too. Yeah. Because really, there's so many variables that it's very hard to account for everything. And of course, it's all in real time. Your plan goes to shit as soon as that happens, and you're in trouble.
Right.
I will say that, there's 2 other characters I didn't even get a chance to play because it took me an hour to get through the tutorial. An hour, y'all. An hour. But it was fun.
I would be fucking terrible at this game.
It's definitely one where once you see the different options and see how many variables there are and how many ways to do things, you're like, oh, the possibilities have opened up. But then you realize most of those end in your failure. Your massive failure. Oh, shit. And so you just have to be creative. And because you're switching between characters as well, you have to really time things out. So you can also set up attacks where you're like, all right, this guy's going to go here, this guy's going to go here. And when I press go, they're both going to initiate attacks, which is cool. But also you can do this guy's going to attack, then I'll press 3, switch to the other guy while he's attacking, and move him around the outside so no one can see what he's doing. That kind of stuff where you have to constantly move back and forth. And I can definitely feel like the later you get into the game, it's going to take a while to get through missions. You have to be real stealthy and real sneaky and patient. Because sometimes you have to figure out the patterns guards do. Sometimes they walk in a straight line. Other times they stop, look around, move a different direction. You're like, okay. So, it's pretty interesting.
With the way you were describing it, I was like, this game doesn't sound like the sort of game I would find fun.
I think
but now that I'm watching the gameplay, I'm like, but maybe I could be into this.
Yeah, see this guy, his cone of vision is the entire area of where you need to go.
Of course it is. I mean, he has eyes. It's very much like that.
And so, and the way those 2 guys work with the hats is they literally, the game says, you cannot distract them. They will not be distracted by anything. That's their job, is to guard this door. They're just going to keep looking around. You can't throw stone. You can't do shit to these guys. So I'm like, oh God. So I had to be like, okay, well, I can kind of get them to look the other way if I throw a rock in that direction. They won't look at it for long, but then they can slowly move my samurai up the map to the point where he can get to them and then murder them both. And I'm like, all right, let's do this shit. It requires that level of, okay, this might take 5 or 10 minutes to make this happen, but it's going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, but Dodge, I think the best way to look at a game like this, especially tactics games, are effectively puzzles.
Yeah.
And just because they have combat in them doesn't mean that they're any less sort of like puzzles. And, you can handle puzzles pretty well. Not to mention, you're a determinator. That's one of those nice little TV tropes things that I found. You refuse to fucking give up. You're like, fuck this thing, I'm going to beat it. This is that. You're going to run into a lot of that here.
I guess whenever I think of a strategy game, I think of games like I think of like army building games, and I'm terrible at those. So whenever I hear about a game like this, that's what I imagine until I actually see it, and then like looking at it now, I'm going, oh, this is way more manageable because it's not. I'm having to govern like huge aspects of my army and put them in the right position and try to take down another army, which is just so overwhelming. Like I can't do it.
If people have told you that this is a strategy game, then slap them, because this is sort of a genre that hasn't been very popular the last few years, but it's real-time tactics. There was a time when there were quite a few people making these sort of games, and they sort of fell out of fashion, mostly because, again, consoles. Pretty hard to do these games on consoles because of the amount of precise controlling you got to do with multiple units. But yeah, there is no economy. There's no base building. This is a real-time tactics game. And the best way to view that is it's a puzzle. It's a big puzzle in a nice big open area, and you've just got to figure out the best approach. And the cool thing is there's quite a lot of answers to that.
Yep, there's so many ways to do everything. And in this one, you can kill or not kill, too. So, and also you can kill or not kill civilians. So when I found out that you could kill civilians, I murdered every single one because they can give you away. Because they live in the castle. They scream and run for guards. And I'm like, because if guards do show up, it's not first 4 guards come. And if you manage to take those guys out, they don't just stop. Then 4 more guards plus a shogun, like a big ass samurai dude come out. And you're like, oh, I'm fucked. Because you don't have enough life to keep fighting. Like you just don't. So
it's in your best interest to just not get caught.
the minute I go, like saving F5 is your best friend, as I learned. There is literally no reason to fight. When guys come out, I just F8 and restart. Because it's just like, I've fucked up. I can't win this battle. And you just, all right, find another way to go through this and keep trying over and over and over again.
Games designed around that. Didn't I see on that on the screen there that it had a warning of when your last save was? It knows you're going to be quick saving.
Yeah, up at the top there's a counter. And at first I was like, what is it counting to? Because it was green and then it gets to yellow, then it gets to orange, then it gets to red. And basically it's like, this is the last time since you saved, dum-dum, so you probably should save again. So every time I hit the yellow, I'm like, save. So
that's kind of nice.
Good reminder.
I feel like a lot of times people think it's a weird sign of weakness to save during levels like this.
No, this would drive the... No, there's
I like that the game encourages it, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, there's one area where I died and then my save was like 3 minutes back. And 3 minutes isn't a lot of time in a game, but holy shit, in this game I was like, no.
That's a lot of actions you have to execute. Yeah, there's a lot of positive feedback around this game right now. It did somewhat come out of nowhere. Didn't have a lot of PR behind it, but they made the smart decision of putting a free demo out for it. So people can try it out and see if it's their kind of thing. And I think it's doing all right, actually. I'm just looking on Steam Spy to find out how well it's sold so far. I hope it's doing okay. I know it's on GOG as well.
Yeah, I know they had a huge push on GOG for it.
Yeah, it's about 30,000 users so far. Of course, it comes out in a really busy time. Like, I know there were people who are concerned about the sales figures for Owlboy because it hasn't hit 50K yet. And, that came out over a month ago, and people are like, wow, Owlboy had a shit ton of hype and critical acclaim behind it, but it hasn't actually sold that well. Well, it's November, December. The amount of competition is insane, and people only have a certain amount of money. Not to mention, Owlboy's quite pricey for an indie game. It's a $25 one. Not saying it's not worth it, but then, Shadow Tactics is $40 as well. So, yeah, it'll take a while, but bear in mind these kind of games can really get going in January, where there'll probably be sweet fuck all. And there'll be a little bit of a sort of winter drought. It'll pick up.
What was when Shovel Knight came out? Was it an immediate success, or was that a word of mouth thing as well?
It had a lot of hype behind it because it had a very successful Kickstarter.
That's
So
right.
I
That was the
think-
difference.
The Kickstarter, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what sort of kept things, the momentum going into its launch. So that probably helped a lot. And of course, a lot of people that kickstarted it were YouTubers and streamers, and then they all went to play it and stream it at the same time. So that gave it a ton of visibility. Owlboy had a bit of that, but evidently nowhere near as much. And even if you do show a really cool game, doesn't mean people are going to buy it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Maybe they'll just watch you play it. People have limited amounts of money. Let's think about that. Bear that in mind.
That's honestly one of the things I do this now for every video I make, where I literally just in the description, I'm like, here's the game, here's who made it, here's what I played it on. Just because I'm like, please go buy these, because no one buys games anymore. Go buy games. Go buy games, guys.
Yeah.
Go spend your money on it.
Been a lot of really, really good ones this year. Not necessarily from the places that you would expect. We'll probably talk a lot about that in the next 2 episodes. Let's officially announce the Co-opties 2016, if that's what we're calling them. Yeah, we usually towards the end of the year, we spent 2 episodes of the show doing what is, I mean, it's not really an award show. It's sort of our end-of-year discussions. We make up a bunch of fucking categories and just talk about them, and then disagree, and then move on without coming to a consensus. Which is very frustrating to people. It's great.
I dream of a future where we make terrible little awards and we mail them.
Send them to people. Done.
That'd be amazing. Oh shit!
I dream of a future
where
we all gather together and host a real life fake award show with a green screen backdrop and special guests who are like, do not even want to be there, and it's just the worst award show. No audience. Just like at some dude's house.
Oh, I was imagining that the green screen is like a fake audience.
Oh, well, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
Can we get Schick Hyderabot out? Like, I wonder how much. What is his appearance fee?
Yes.
Can we just have the audience be nothing but Schick Hyderabot?
Oh my god.
Perfect.
1 year we're all robot raisers.
I can get Rotterdam. I can get the guy who was talking to him. He is a friend. He will. I'm never ever gonna let him forget that. I mean, I know, we gotta do things for money, but I'm not letting you forget that one. That's too fucking funny. Oh my god, fucking Hyderabot.
Embrace it. That's our entire award show. Is Hydrabots present awards. Embrace that shit. Just wrap your arms around it. Hug it close.
The Co-opties brought to you by Hyderabot.
I think that
not even Schick, just by Hyderabot.
I think the worst thing is that was by far not one of the worst things about that show. By all rights, that should have been the worst thing, but it wasn't even close. Oh Jesus. Oh no.
I think our future's looking great, guys.
We'll make us work. But yeah, next 2 episodes of the show will be, we'll do our end of year wrap up. It's very laid back, very informal, but people will argue over it, so it's perfect.
Best boob physics. Go.
You want to do that?
Yeah, and it's gonna go to that damn game I played where the girls chop food.
Don't spoil it.
Don't spoil it.
Save it for the Co-opties.
Jeez, no one's gonna watch it now. Or you've spoiled it.
Or will it?
All right. Best boob physics is now a category, folks. We're making it happen. We're gonna have to come up with a short list over that in the next week. So,
what about
our chief researcher Jesse Cox, PhD, will get right on that.
Yes. What about best 4 boys in a car simulator?
I have a feeling that's a shoo-in. It's a fix. The fix is in. The noodles are boiling in the pot. Boiling, I tell you. No.
Best game about connecting with an animal. Got it.
Perfect.
Best. I mean, we could just go with best animal companion in the 2016 game.
Yeah,
that would work.
Animal companion.
Yeah, there's probably a few games.
That's one of mine that I'm submitting.
Yeah.
I promise that I'll actually think about it, and I won't just automatically give it to Last Guardian.
Yeah, guys, I promise I'll actually think about boob physics, and I won't just give it to Last Guardian.
We don't. Can we put Last Guardian in every category, regardless of whether it should be there?
Last Guardian is in every category, hands down.
I did consider at one point, before I realized that would be a little cliche when thinking about how to do the Arbitrary Award 2016, could we just have a category that is literally No Man's Sky and then give the award to No Man's Sky?
Best No Man's Sky.
Best and worst No Man's Sky. Oh, dear. Fucking hell.
Can we have one that's best technological malfunction?
Yeah.
Best game goof.
Best game bug. Yeah.
Yeah, best game bug.
Yeah, I'm sure we can find something like that. I've got to say, Battlefield 1 would probably be pretty high up on that list. There are some crazy things that go on with that. Shit that's gone on with the airship as it crashes to the ground and then spins into a fucking tornado of blazing fire. It's like, what the... It's the apocalypse, the seventh seal has been broken. Oh, fuck. That would be... Yeah, we can go with that. There's plenty...
man.
Yeah, we'll look at that. Best and worst. No Man's Sky.
Cool, great. We're not going to tell you what the rest of them are because you have to come and watch.
Yeah, you won't come watch.
Oh, they'll be just as stupid. Don't you worry.
Don't worry, guys.
So next 2 weeks, I believe Sacriel is our guest next week, and we don't have a guest sorted out for the week after that, but we'll come up with someone that knows things about video games and can actually contribute. So that'll be fun. Yeah. Very cool. I actually asked Daniel Dwight if he wanted to come back and do it like last year, but apparently he's in some fancy country recording some fancy documentary, his new Jet Set lifestyle. But speaking of that, you have to go and watch his Doom documentaries on NoClip. They are fucking fantastic so far.
He's doing what he said he was going to do with your Patreon money.
Yeah, it's very
hella cool stuff.
It's a rare thing. No broken promises. Come on along and do watch his NoClip documentaries. The Doom stuff's great. All right, moving back on to games that we've been playing. Can I tell you the Dota? Oh no, okay. Dodger, what you got?
I was just gonna say I finally played Plants vs Zombies Heroes.
Yay! Let's talk about that. What do you reckon?
I like it. I was surprised because it took me a while to not feel like the game was a little one-sided toward the zombies.
Okay, yeah.
Because I know that TV's explained this game like a million times.
Pause. Are you like this game is very pro-zombie?
No. You can play either. So you can play as the plants or you can play as the zombies, and it's set up the way that a lot of games are now, where it's like you have your minions in front of you that can be any different type of minions, but then you have your hero and you're trying to protect your hero.
Yes.
So playing as the plants, I was like, okay. I'm starting to get the feel for this. And then they're like, you can also play as the zombies if you want. So I played as the zombies, and the zombies get an extra segment of the turn order, which I thought was interesting. So it's like the zombies play, and then the plants play, and then the zombies can use tricks. So it's almost trying to balance out the fact that the zombies got to go first and then the plants got to respond to whatever the zombies played. So then you have all of your, whatever all you were able to put out on the board. And then the zombies can also play an extra card called a trick if they manage to draw one. Yeah. And at first I was like, God, I don't know that this is balancing it out though. I'm not sure, because some of those tricks are like really strong.
Yeah, you'll find eventually that it makes a lot more sense than it initially appears. Because I thought the same thing when I first played it. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? But in reality, the way that it works is that the zombies are actually quite restricted in what they can do in their first phase. They can only play minions in the first phase. Yeah. They can't play tricks. But then they can only play tricks, but not minions. When the plants go, they can do both. Plants have tricks too. So you can place your minions and you can play your spells. And I
guess they do count as the same thing, huh?
Yeah, they do. It's less obvious because a trick sounds like the kind of thing that the evil zombie dudes would do. But no, the plants have them too. So
and when you're playing it, they make it seem like the spell cards or the trick cards as a plant is like a special hero move. Like that's kind of the way that they pitch it to you, is like, oh, you're using your hero to do this special thing. And then with the zombies, they're like, you get to play tricks now. I was like, are these different? They're different, right?
It's a little confusing. They are different, yeah. Each hero in this game has 4 superpowers. Because the whole idea is that these different plants and zombies have become superheroes through whatever. So, you've got the big tough, like, superhero zombie wrestler and, like, I'm an evil genius doctor zombie and all that kind of thing. And they all have 4 superpowers each, which are different. You start off the game with 1 superpower, and then every time that your armor breaks, you have 3 little armor pips, which sort of kick in after you've been hit a certain number of times. The next hit is negated, and it draws you a superpower from the remaining 3. And then you can play that superpower immediately for free which can actually affect the rest of, the game, which is really interesting to me because a game like Hearthstone has no player interaction between turns. Like, when it's your turn, the other player can't do shit. But in this, there are certain times when the other player can respond to you. Elder Scrolls Legends does a similar thing with its prophecy system, where you get what's called a rune break at a certain point. But in this, you've got super armor, and it can break up to 3 times, but it blocks an attack and then draws you the superpower. But you can include in your deck regular tricks that are not superpowers. Superpowers come with the hero by default and don't take up a spot in your deck. Tricks, which you can have on both plants and zombie sides, just spells, basically, take up a space in your deck, and you put them in there specifically. So some of the starter decks for plants probably don't have many of those, whereas I imagine some of the starter decks for zombies do. But I think that system, the sort of back and forth, the phase system, makes the game very different to something like Hearthstone. It does take a bit of getting used to, I'll admit, but it is kind of neat. Is particularly like the zombies can play some of their minions inside a gravestone, which means it's not revealed what they are until
they pop out.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
Yeah, zombies play their minions first. Some of them are called gravestone zombies, and it just places a gravestone in one lane. It doesn't change your mana value so that the other player can't guess what it is based on what it cost. So it doesn't show you change in mana. And then once the plants have played their plants, the zombie from the gravestone pops out. So as the zombie, you kind of have to try and, in many cases, predict what the plant player's going to do, because you have to put your minion down before they do. But as the plant, you're like, oh, fuck, do I put something in this gravestone lane and try and block it? Because I don't know what it is. Maybe it's some nasty fucking thing that's going to immediately kill my zombie or whatever. So there's an element of strategy there and an element of guesswork too.
I feel like the zombies have a lot more mobility too. It seems like there are a lot more cards that you can play, or like minions that you can play that will move around depending on what the plants do.
To some degree. It depends on the hero you're playing more often than not. The heroes not only have 4 superpowers, but they have access to, I guess, what I call 2 suits. If you go by...
I was going to call them classes, but I think suits works too, yeah.
There's I think 6 per side. There's 6 kinds, there's brainy zombies and tanky and, tough zombies and all that kind of thing. And each hero has a combination of 2 of those suits available to them. So... in the case what I'm showing yourself on the screen right now, Walnut, who I'm playing, has the growth plants, which are these give you extra mana and stuff like that, and then has the sort of tank nut plants, which are these are tanky and block stuff and everything. But you're right, a lot of the zombies do have mobility. There's a basic card which is really good called the Zombie Dog Walker.
Yeah, all of the pet ones are great.
There's subclasses on subclasses in this game which synergize. It's a common card game thing to have what's called tribes. I think Magic the Gathering introduced the term, which usually means that it's got the same little piece of text on the card, and sometimes those things synergize with just hey, if you have... the classic example for Magic is slivers. It's if you have more than one sliver, this buffs all of the slivers, or if you play 2 dragons, this does this. Hearthstone has the same thing. This does too. So in particular with the pet classes, you can summon Zombie Cat Lady, who she's 0/4 by default. She has no attack, but if you summon a pet during that turn, she immediately gets +4 attack for that turn only and throws cats at people.
Yeah, the Zombie Dog Walker, you can put him wherever, and then the second that a new plant is planted, then the Dog Walker will move into that lane.
Yes. It's a very good card, in my opinion. One of the best.
Yeah, I love that card.
Yeah, it's really strong. It's only 1 mana. It kind of gets around that early game problem of, because it's a lane-based game, the zombie plays their zombie first, and it's I put a zombie in this lane, and then the plant's well, fuck you, I'm not blocking that, I'm just going to put something in another lane then to avoid it. But the dog walker fucks you. It's the dog walker just then moves over. But you can also fuck with him like that too. As the plant, you play multiple plants, and then you can move the dog walker where you want him to be, so it's kind of a double-edged sword.
It really does feel very different from any other Plants vs. Zombies game, though.
But do you feel like it still has the heart of PvZ in it? It kind of feels a bit like a tower defense game, but not? That's the feel I got.
They pull enough from the goofy aesthetic of the other ones.
Yeah.
That you definitely feel like you're playing a Plants vs. Zombies game, just in a different mechanical frame. And I think that it's super fun.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it a lot. There's a lot of single-player content. Jen plays a bunch of it, and she's not really a big competitive matchmaking kind of person. Mostly with, like, Hearthstone as well. She only played, like, the adventures and stuff, and maybe the brawl. But she's played a bit online, but she's played a bunch of the quests, and I know for when the games went red thing for a week for AIDS awareness, they went red and they did what they called a red alert quest, where you had, like, 5 quests that, were all single player and had a little bit of a story to them. And you can earn a ton of cards that way too. Again, I think the business model is a lot fairer than a lot of the card games that are out there. It's certainly much cheaper. I almost have all the cards, and I've put some money into it, and I've probably put about 60 in. Whereas to get all the cards of a set in Hearthstone, it's more like $200, $300.
Yep.
It's rough.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of balance issues. Some of the legendary cards are very strong, although a lot of them are very expensive to play as well, so it's not too big a deal. But you can get, your starter stuff is very easy. You're constantly earning currency to get new card packs, and they also, as I mentioned, I think in previous shows, give you the ability to buy different card packs that will have either guaranteed specific cards that you need in them, or are like for a hero, or if, like, I just want plants. I just only want to play plants. Then you can get a pack that only gives you plants then. So you're not worried about that. And there's all sorts of deals on a daily basis. So it's nice. It's one of my big surprises of the year to me, because I thought when I first saw this, I'm like, this is fucking stupid. Like, why would they... What are they doing? They're just, like, going after, like, either the Hearthstone trend, or it actually even looked a bit like Clash Royale to me. I'm like, what are you doing with this? And then I played it. I was like, this is one of the most fun CCGs I've played in ages. And it feels fresh.
It kept me very entertained on the plane. I was like, TB said this is fun. Maybe I'll try it out. And I got super hooked on it. It's really, really fun. Yeah,
it really is. And it just feels different enough. And it's got so much charm to it. It's just like, how many more zombie types can you come up with? And then you see the fucking zombie in the hot dog costume pop up. And he looks ridiculous. It's like, zombie hot dog mascot. I'm like... Really? They go, there's the zombie walrus rider is awesome. There are different zombie riders. The zombie walrus rider can go in the water lane, and he's awesome. And
there's like a ripped Viking zombie that's it's a legendary, I think, that was pulled on me during the campaign, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, there's a opera singing zombie, like a kind of Valkyrie opera singing zombie, like the big fat a very stereotypical cartoon kind of zombie.
Yeah.
Zombie disco dancers that summon zombie backup dancers that all dance in sync.
I use the shit out of those.
Those are good.
Yeah, I love those.
It's so fun and, like, visually fun and colorful and really well animated and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
It is on Android and iOS, and of course you can play it on PC if you download the BlueStacks Android virtual machine app, which is free. You can play it on that. Like, give it a shot. And all the people put off buy free-to-play games on mobile, because a lot of them are really, really predatory. But this one isn't. Mm-hmm. It's not. It's good. It's really fun. And I'm going to keep fucking telling you this until you believe me. I'm an advocate for this game now.
Speaking of all the things in a game, Overwatch holiday skins are out, and they're so cute.
There are some good ones, though, I got to admit.
There's some really, really cute ones. The Nutcracker Zenyatta is so quality. Out of all of them, I think that's the one where I was like, what the fuck?
That is awesome. Well,
it's great.
Please tell me, Force has got to have done it. Of course he did. It's like, I was like, right, where am I going to show footage of this? I bet Force has done a video on it.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Of Force.
Of course he did.
Of course he did that. Yep, he became an Overwatch channel because he knows where the money is, rightfully so.
Here's the crazy thing, and I had an epiphany today, and I think this is one of those, like, I was forced to have it because I can't actively buy
You're forced to have it?
Damn you, Force. No, because I can't play the game right now. I think the only reason why I had this thought was because I can't just buy these immediately. But I was like, I bought all those fucking skins from Halloween, and I don't think I used one of them now, maybe. God damn it. And I was like, oh, I would never, like, this would be cool to play with now, but I never use them again. Meanwhile, I'm like, I really wish I could log in and get those skins because I got a bunch of coins just around. I just want to fucking buy them.
That's a weird thing about, like, selling skins kind of as microtransactions, isn't it? That once you have your new favorite, the one that you bought previously, you're probably never using it again.
Yeah.
Like, I wish it had a random skin option where just like, because Dota has been doing that for a while. Because it realized,
I love the Roadhog. Sorry.
Oh, it's so good, isn't it? The little Tracer Elf's pretty good too.
You know his gun, Roadhog's gun, is a gift from Junkrat.
From Junkrat, it says from Junkrat on it. Blech.
Yeti Winston. That's good there as
well.
The
Yeti Winston's my favorite one. That thing looks amazing.
I'm interested to see what his weapon looks like, because that's one thing I don't think they show for most of these characters here. More often than not, when you buy a legendary skin, it changes the way the weapon looks. There's your Zenyatta, your Nutcracker Zenyatta. That's really cool. So I'm more interested in what the weapon looks like than what the others look like. But yeah, with Dota a while ago realized that people were collecting like a bunch of skins for wards and stuff like that, and we're like, well, I've got a skin for wards now, why would I need any more? But so they put in a random selector option. So, and it's the same with couriers as well. So I've got like 16 different kinds of couriers or whatever. So every time I go in game and buy a courier, it'll randomly select a skin for me. So then there's a reason to have a collection. So if they don't already have this in Overwatch, which I don't think they do, maybe they should go with that. So it picks a random one every match.
I think the problem, though, with that is that everyone has their waifu, and then their waifu is perfected with a skin. Mm-hmm. And it's like for me, the Halloween skin of Pharah is like legit my favorite skin. Like that, like flying demon suit thing is awesome looking. And I need nothing else for that character ever again for the rest of this game. Like nothing else.
But it's not about that, right? It's about collecting all of the skins. And I think Overwatch...
That's the problem.
It is for Sam. Strip goes crazy on that shit, I've noticed.
Yeah, because like we were talking about it, the way that they display all of your stuff feels really satisfying. Like to look at a character and see that you have everything for a character is like, yes.
I don't get that
I don't know that feeling because I don't buy 100 boxes at a time.
I have what is known as wow-itis, where you realize after 11 years that you'll never have anything, and no matter how hard you try, you will always be behind. So unless you want to throw money at it till you win, I can't. You learn a hard lesson. One day it's going to hit Sam, and he's going to be like, I own a bunch of skins in a game I don't play anymore, and it'll crush him deep inside.
I don't think so. I don't think it will.
Oh, it will.
Yeah.
He'll never express it to you because he keeps it bottled up. But when he goes on that killing spree, that'll be the reason why.
Yeah, this will bring back the good old loot box debate. It's like, why does Blizzard get away with doing the microtransactions in a full price game and nobody else does? Like, well, actually, I think
customized they're not necessary for the.
Yeah, this is the argument I keep making, and some people like, and that doesn't matter. It's like it does to me. It makes a big difference to me. I got no problem with like.
I don't need any of that
also,
shit. I just want
fucking post-launch content. You're not entitled to shit after the game has been released, other than bug fixes and balance updates.
You don't even have to put the costumes like they look cool, but they like your fucking first-person view. You don't see that shit till the end of the game anyway. So what the hell do you care?
Yeah, I mean I think that it's much better, and I guess it's a lesser of evils argument, but. Blizzard probably doesn't need money to keep that game running right now, but we had this weird issue with Starcraft where a significant portion of the community were quite literally begging Blizzard to put microtransactions in it because they're worried.
Did eventually,
and they did them. Yeah, they did. And there's announcer packs. Probably the best things they've done are announcer packs. I think the Alarak one is so good. The Diva one's annoying as fuck. Don't even. Terrible idea. But they just put Nova in. And they're adding that new Commander Stukov to the co-op. That's another way they're monetizing it. But it's because people were worried about the future of the game. And it's because it had been out for 5 or 6 years. And like, oh, Blizzard, please don't pull people off the project. But if you think about it, you've got to pay those devs. And if the game's not making money anymore, then that's going to become a problem. So I have no problem with things like loot boxes coming in and cosmetic skins being sold. Generally, as long as they're not day one, as long as it's post-launch, I think that's a fair way to keep monetizing the game going forward. And you keep the important content free, like maps and characters.
devil's advocate for a little bit of this.
Go for it.
The loot box they made for the Olympics event was bullshit. That was a cheap loot box. That was a, like, you can only get it through these loot boxes, and you can't use the currency you have already to buy these things.
Right. So that was super dumb.
That was the main problem. It's the randomness element was too much there. And there should always be an option to just buy the thing outright with something, either real currency or the in-game currency you've earned, and not put yourself up to the mercies of chance. And here's an interesting piece of news that came out last couple of days. China is actually going to force games that use loot box systems to list the odds of getting stuff.
Interesting.
Which is a very pro-consumer move. Although they kind of, I was thinking, go China. And there's just been a piece of news a few hours ago that they're going to make streaming unapproved games illegal from January. It's like, oh, go China. Oops.
Oh, China.
Oh, dear. That's actually going to be a really big deal because the Chinese streaming scene is massive right now. Yeah. We just got a Chinese broadcaster for Shoutcraft Kings, and they gave the numbers like, we got 20,000 people watching your tournament. Like, when we first broadcast, we're like, you what? Like, that's as much as we had English speaking. That's a big fucking deal, and that's only for Starcraft. If there's other games, League of Legends and a lot of mobile games that are fucking massive in China. So that rule is going to really fuck people over. Basically, there's going to be a pre-approved set of games, which means that, like, games that are not considered wholesome or whatever are actually going to become illegal to stream. I was going to say
standard China thing.
Standard China
awful morality police shit. It's like, oh dear God, that's rough for them. Follow-up question on that.
Sure, then. If China has a set of games that are China approved, and China's market is growing rapidly, and there's a lot of money there.
It's a big deal.
How many game companies do you think are going to be like, oh, well, let's figure out what China wants and make our games geared toward that audience?
This is something Hollywood's already doing. I don't know if you've noticed the amount of, the kind of Chinese fan service that's been in very recent movies. Independence Day is a great example. The new Independence Day had, it's like, we're going to make it out that, it was very, China's contribution to the previous war effort was really important. Even though they weren't in that movie, they weren't at all. There was an element of that in Pacific Rim, although they sort of subverted it by, spoiler alert, having the Chinese guys run. Let's just say they ran into a bit of trouble. I don't want to spoil that movie for you if you haven't seen it. Go fucking watch this. What the hell are you doing, Pacific Rim?
Yeah, chat's right with Transformers.
Transformers had it, yeah.
This new movie, The Wall, is literally like get every A-list Hollywood actor we can and then throw them in like ancient China and pay for it with all the Chinese government money we can. Like,
although that's fine by me. I mean, I watched Red Cliff, which was one of the most expensive Chinese movies ever. It's a fucking amazing. Was it The Martian? That's like the Chinese government. It was only the Chinese government's launcher that saved the day. Mm-hmm. They do put that stuff in because Hollywood has realized there's now a big, massive audience in China, so they're pandering to them a bit.
Yeah, that's why, people constantly talk about franchises that get more and more and more movies. And you're like, how do they keep making these movies when no one here watches it? It's because China it's not about us, guys. It's about China because they fucking love those movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think been in Doctor Strange was like that and stuff like that. I don't personally mind. Like, Hollywood's been pandering to different countries, particularly America, for fucking ever. Oh no, Hollywood's playing nice with China and not insulting them constantly and making them the enemy. How terrible.
Oh no.
Oh no. Could we do that with Russia now? Could we stop pretending that we're not all on the same planet and kind of have to get along?
Russians are always the bad guys, and they're also always the mob now.
Although I'll give credit to the original Independence Day, they bigged up the Russian contribution to the war effort. In the big scene where they're going around the world saying we're ready to go. Although they did have the Soviet march music in the background, it's like, God damn it, guys, come on! It's like, we are evil, grim Russia. Da, 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 da.
Also, let's make note that every time there's a space movie, the Russian's always the one who's like, I've been in space 50 years and I can figure this shit out.
Well, they're fucking right.
Always the Russian.
Their fucking capsule is incredibly safe and very reliable, and they're the only ones launching manned missions right now, so give them fucking credit for that. Anyway,
how did we get here? What happened?
We're talking
China,
about
video games.
Yeah, China, Overwatch, and loot boxes specifically. The new legislation
Live
in China and live streaming. Yes.
Right.
So yeah, that became a thing for whatever reason. It's just I find that a kind of interesting topic because China's become such a very important market now in video games and for movies. And we're seeing some really great Chinese indie development as well. As I said, Icy is a Chinese-developed game, and it's fucking awesome.
It's great.
A very interesting game, very well-written game coming from an unexpected place. The more different countries make games, the better it is. There was a RPG earlier this year that was South African-developed, I believe.
Yeah, that's a very fun game as well. It's like...
How do you pronounce the name of it?
Dragon Ball Z.
Orion, yes.
Yeah,
Orion. That's right.
Yeah, and it incorporates a lot of... African folklore and things like that, which
straight up,
same argument I made. Why, why is Witcher so white? Because it's all about Slavic folklore and what they're used to, and that's a very homogenous country, and that's good. That's diversity right there. That is diversity. I don't want to go too far into that fucking topic because it's annoying as shit. But ticking boxes and just including everyone is not necessarily diversity. Representing what your country's folklore is and having a diverse selection of games that all come from different perspectives. That's cool diversity. I like that.
Spoiler, you should play both of those games. They're totally different, but tell stories that are very compelling in different ways.
Yeah.
So stop complaining, internet, and go experience things, you bums.
Indeed. Yeah, absolutely should do that. Can I now tell you the Dota story from last night?
Please do.
Right,
because I've been hearing bits and pieces of Dota drama.
Oh
and
my.
I just wanna hear it all.
It's kind of why I wanted Period on the show this week, but he actually has not even had a chance to play it. I think he just came back from another country, so he's like, yeah, I haven't played it yet. Okay, so I haven't played Dota in over a year, probably maybe or closer to 2, and it's it's a very hard game. Always been a very hard game, and that's the appeal of it to a lot of people. It's a great game, but there's been a big update. So the way that the updates work in Dota is they're always decimal updates, like 6.93, 6.94. When there is a non-decimal update, like 6.0 or 7.0, that means seismic changes to the game. The last update that was 6.0, I think, was almost a decade ago, and it was to the Warcraft 3 mod. I think I could be either that. Also, I could be completely wrong on that, but. It was a huge update. It added a shit ton of heroes. It completely changed massive aspects of the game. So 7.0 comes along, and yeah, that also makes some huge changes. It only adds one hero, Monkey King, but it does massively change almost every other hero in the game. Reworks a ton of stuff, reworks the map, does a whole bunch of other stuff. So... it's been a big deal. When it was announced a few days ago, people went crazy as a result. Right. So now it's out, and it obviously has caused some consternation because when you change something, people are going to get mad. One of the big inclusions was that they decided to include on top of what they already have a talent system that's a little bit like Heroes of the Storm.
Okay.
So when you hit level 10, 15, 20, and 25, you can pick one of 2 mutually exclusive talents. And they're strong. It's on top of all the other stuff. They still have, you still buy stuff like you do. You still have the regular economy. They haven't taken everything out like HOTS did, but they added it. They thought, you know what, we're going to do this. And they got rid of something called dumping stats, which is instead of every level picking a skill to upgrade, you are able to... pick just +2 to all stats instead, which was it's a massive throwback to the Warcraft 3 mod. It's a very old mechanic, and it was in Dota 2 because it was in Dota 1. And honestly, it's been one of the more boring mechanics in my opinion for a while. So they got rid of that and they said we're going to do talents instead, and some of them very powerful. I played a game last night, and I'll tell you the main story of this right now because it gets ridiculous, and it reminded me of why I stopped playing Dota, but hey. I got talents, and I was doing really badly because I haven't played in ages. Playing Witch Doctor, who's a support hero. I was dying a lot. So I got a talent it was basically a shit talent. It's like, oh, you're really bad. This talent gives you 20% extra XP. I was like, cool, I'm going to pick this so I can catch up. That was neat. And then there was another one, it's like minus 35 seconds respawn time. I'm dying a lot. I'm going to pick that one. But of course, if you're not dying a lot, maybe you'll pick the other one. So that'll be a bit better. And some of them are very potent. They're big power increases in many ways, and then some of them are weirdly shit. But because I guess they just haven't balanced them yet. I think the meme right now is +6 to treants or something that is not.
Okay.
That's fuck all apparently. But anyway, that's in. They've changed like the way the map is. They've moved Roshan, who is the big boss character, which actually completely changes the game because fighting over him is a big deal. They've put these. They've put what are basically moonwells around the map, kind of like HOTS, but they work a bit differently. They have a much longer cooldown, and they're sort of an area heal. So really, you've got to kind of gather your team around it, and then you hit the moonwell. There's also there's a couple in the base and things like that. So they're dotted around the map, and they also have bounty runes, which are dotted around the map, which spawn every couple of minutes, and they give you a nice little chunk of experience and gold. So it's really changed the game completely. Huge big deal. So I'm like, cool. You know, and they've redone the UI and everything, so they've made things work a lot better. They've taken out a lot of the clunky shit. It's easier to level skills up now. It's just one click. You don't have to hotkey or anything. Go to the game.
Games are taking forever, though, right?
Yeah, so the issue and the problem with my anecdote is that I only played one game, and it ended up being 107 minutes long.
Jesus.
Which is fucking ridiculous.
Fuck.
But there's going to be a lot of inconsistency in reports, you know, because not everyone's going to have a super long game. The question is whether or not the patch caused games to get on average longer, and whether or not that's just going to even out. Is it because people they don't know how to play? Yeah, so they can't close the game out because they don't know how to play the new map properly and do it as efficiently as possible? Is it because they want to get to level 25 to get their talents? Because a lot of games would usually finish before level 25. Are they deliberately holding back to do that? Are they holding back to buy some of the brand new expensive items? Is that why? Do they want to experiment with those so they're not closing the game out? And stuff like that. There are other things like, because of those moonwells, the shrines, getting onto the high ground into the enemy base could be more difficult because the defender's advantage may have grown as a result of that. We don't really know yet. It's going to take a while to figure that out. And I had a game that was 107 minutes, and it was fucking miserable. DOTA has a decent comeback potential, but the fallacy is assuming that comeback potential can be properly utilized in pubby groups that don't communicate well with each other. In competitive high-level games, that comeback potential is amazing because it makes for great esports. But in pubby games and lower rank solo MMR, you know, the gutter tier kind of stuff, that comeback potential isn't realized. So what ends up happening is you're losing, and you lose for 40 straight minutes. And you can never realize the comeback because you never coordinate enough to do it.
That sucks.
And this happened to us. We got our asses handed to us in pretty much all lanes. And we were in our base for 40 minutes, defending our base.
Jesus.
And they couldn't break us, but we couldn't make a play that would wipe enough of their team out to actually go and kill them. And bear in mind, Dota 2 has buyback. So they had a ton of money because they had full control of the map for an hour. So even when we did kill 3 of them, they all bought back instantly into the game, which you can only do that every once in a while. There's a big cooldown on it, but it's like, fuck, that was our big play. Like, this is never going to happen again because we're all shit. But our big play resulted in nothing other than losing money. So we're like, fucking hell. So we're just defending. And of course, you don't want to quit the game because you end up getting a loser's penalty and you can end up in low priority queue. There's a big punishment for it. It was miserable. It was fucking...
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun.
No, it's not.
I would have started trying to play the game a little bit worse at a certain point.
Oh, I would have fed. I would have been out there like, yo, kill me.
I was going to report you for that.
Please just take the goddamn base and end my suffering.
You can legitimately report people for deliberately feeding, and that if you get put in low priority queue, not only does that mean it can take 20 minutes to get a game, you get put in with all the trolls who also got dumped in low priority queue.
No.
So it's a really unpleasant experience. You don't want to be in low prio at all. So, but I came back and like, this all sounds great. These changes are great. I like a lot of this, but oh my god, the reason I stopped playing Dota for the most part is how long this takes. There's no surrender button. There's never been a surrender button.
Really?
No, because they believe that there's always the opportunity for a comeback. There's no vote for concede because they believe that would cause people It's like, oh god, we're losing, so let's just vote for concede, guys. Fuck this. They want people to try and come back.
What if they just said, you know what? If the game's over an hour, you can do it now. What was
That'll be all right.
What maybe that's a good thing.
That might be okay.
Just a big old thing pops up. Then people would get angry too. A thing pops up at an hour being like, are you done yet? Do you want to end this?
The risk of it is that a guy is like, oh, I've been in this for too long, but we still have a very good chance of winning. Votes concede because he's run out of time, and then ends the game for people that don't want it. But things like, you gotta like get 4 or 5 like people to vote for that anyway.
Have majority vote anyway.
Yeah, so it's actually not really a big deal. But there's the concern that if you get like 3 people who are in the same group in there and they all vote together, that could be fuck people over. I don't think that's a big deal. Still, the majority vote should fucking matter, surely.
Yeah.
It's like, surely the majority's enjoyment in a team game should be the priority. But as you can see in chat, there are people like, this game should never have concede, ever. Like, people are very, very hardcore about that.
What if instead of concede, it was like, you could have played 2 games instead of this one if you just had lost already, dummy?
I could have played 4 games of HOTS.
Yeah.
I could play easily, maybe 5 games of HOTS, possibly. In the time that it took me, and no, I'm afraid that one game of Dota,
garbage to
you. One game of 70-minute Dota is 5 times as enjoyable as Heroes of the Storm, so it all evens out. No, sorry, it's not. I don't like Heroes of the Storm as much as I like Dota, but it's not that different in terms of the level of enjoyment. I'll play a lesser game if I can get 5 times as many games out of it. Fuck you. That's ridiculous. I could have got 20 games of Clash Royale in, for fuck's sake. Yeah, it's too much. We'll see. We'll see how it goes the next few weeks. Maybe I just don't play for the next few weeks, let people kind of learn and let it even out a bit, and then go back in and then play it. But I've actually started playing Starcraft 2 again on ladder, and the benefit of that is you can surrender whenever you want. You only have yourself to blame for a loss. They actually patched Starcraft 2 quite recently. They made some big changes to it that have freshened the ladder up quite a lot. So I went back and played Terran. Battlecruisers are good now. It's great. They have a warp ability. You can literally warp in a fleet of battlecruisers on top of someone's army and just go, fuck you! Or you can warp them out when they take too much damage. So like, we're going to kill your battlecruiser. No, you're fucking not. I just teleported it away. Fuck you.
Awesome.
So, yeah, there's some neat stuff in that. So I've been playing a bunch of that as well.
I need to go back and finish the last Nova mission. Oh my god, I haven't played it yet.
Get that done. Gotta get that finished. I might go back to co-op in 3.9. I really like the idea of Stukov. He can summon the Apocalypse. It's a giant Ultralisk that he strapped Terran guns to. And he has, and he can also summon the Alexander, whatever, which is a infested battlecruiser, super battlecruiser. Like, yeah, that's neat. Nice. So, and his walking infested bunker and shit, and it's pretty horrific. Like, one of his main buildings is like, you infest a colony, and it just keeps spawning zombie-infested innocent people that go in droves and die for you. I'm like, oh, shit. Should I be doing this?
Yes.
Apparently Stukov is out today. Very cool. 3.9's out. Cool, I should try it. Excellent. Give that a shot. Nice. Yeah, so those were certainly video games. We need to
those were video
games.
Those
were. One of them was just too long of a video game, I think. Jeez. Yeah. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're skipping releases because it's just a bunch of shit. We'll talk.
Yeah, get fucked.
We are going to talk a bit about. We have a new controversy, bullshit, but we're going to talk about Twitch chat a bit. We were talking about this before the show, and there was
guys.
Yep, somebody stirring the pot again, because that's what games journalism is. We, as people that actually stream, that know what they're talking about, we're going to talk a little bit about that and a few other things. We're back after the break, folks. You're watching the Co-Optional Podcast. Don't go anywhere. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Co-Optional Podcast. So let's dive right into this discussion topic. The flare-ups tend to happen every time we see a website make a questionable claim, especially when they don't seem to fully understand the subject. Your Boo Strip was not happy about this particular article.
A lot of people weren't, because, blanket statements.
Yes, blanket statements, clickbait bullshit. This is the same website, I think, a couple of days ago, quite literally quoted a copy pasta about Dota 2 and quoted it as fact, claiming that that was actually someone's opinion of it. But I don't know. It's dumb as fuck. Anyway, the article was called "Twitch Releases New Tool to Fix Their Awful Chat," which was a pretty stupid name for an article, because that is a very blanket statement that, Twitch chat is fucking terrible, always blah, 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 blah. And that, if anything, that's a more meme than fact at this point. We joke a lot about that, but I think it's a very unfair broad stroking.
Yeah, the actual article is about the fact that there are a lot of third-party bots that you can have in your chat to help you moderate. And Twitch has developed their own already inside of the system, which is very cool.
So you don't need to grab another one. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the article itself talks about, the bot, but also makes really weird, like, I don't even know how to put it. There's just a lot of statements in there that are not grounded in fact at all about the way that works.
Not a single one of them is backed up with a fact. I bear in mind this article has been edited and changed several times. So
of course, because that's the internet, you can do that.
Yeah, which is a bit of a problem. The biggest update at the bottom was, so the article originally said that Twitch chat was universally awful, but a number of Twitch streamers have pointed out that some aren't.
Yeah, I saw that.
No shit!
All right.
Maybe don't claim that don't claim in your article that every single one is bad.
Awful.
No, there's no such thing as universal anything. Come on, that's
Universal Soldier.
Oh, all right, I'll give you that one.
All right, shout out to Van Damme wherever you are, bro. You were always my
Soldier
Universal
2
Soldier.
though was shit.
We think of you every day.
We do. So that was bullshit. I mean, it's just it's a shitty little opinion piece presented as news, basically. But there was some really questionable stuff in there. Like, and this is still in the article, by the way. In brackets, how many times have you seen Twitch chatters spam things like, and I'm not going to say it on air for obvious reasons, it's the N-word, but he spelled it out with a 1 and a 3 in it. 1, that, to quote some famous fellow whose name I've forgotten, "Dickhead, you just made me say the word in my head. You made me think that." That's bullshit. You don't get to do that. Either, say N-word or post the whole thing. Also, who the fuck?
That never happens. It's already in the blacklist that's inside of Twitch, that has been inside of Twitch forever.
Yeah, the article totally doesn't recognize that. Yeah, it totally doesn't acknowledge that Twitch has had a word blacklist for years, and the blacklist is opt-out, not opt-in. So that word, that N-word in particular, is completely blacklisted. And who the fuck uses LeetSpeak anymore? What in the hell? Are you kidding me? No.
It's not cool anymore, guys. I don't use LeetSpeak. I'm
How
out.
many times have I seen... And what's worse is it says it spam things like it. So it indicates that a bunch of people do it at the same time. No! Not only does this barely ever happen, answering the question, how many times have I seen them spam it? Never. How many times have I seen someone say it in some form? Very rarely, actually. Yeah. Even in the worst streams. Very, very rarely.
It's bizarre because I think a lot of people, like, we jokingly say Twitch chat is awful, am I right?
Yeah.
But it's like if you go to a tournament and there are shitloads of people in there and it's mostly unmoderated, it turns into a shit show.
Yeah. And that's not just a tournament. That's literally any chat ever over a certain number is gonna get harder to manage.
Mm-hmm. And for the most part, if you go into a person's chat who streams often, they have moderators, they have rules, there's a system set up. Like, all of us have chat systems that work for us.
Not me. I don't. Here's the thing.
You know what? Not Jesse. Never mind.
No, but this goes back to the point. I don't got shit. I don't have a mod. I have nothing. Literally, no one talks like that in any of my. No one. Turns out, people are respectful as shit sometimes, and it's just if it's a large stream, of course you're gonna have people go there and be assholes because there's 60,000 people watching them be assholes. That's it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, and people tend to bandwagon when that happens as well, because it's sort of mob mentality where they'll see someone else behaving like that, so they think they're kind of justified.
They're like, I could get away with this.
Yeah.
Rad.
There's also another point that barely comes up ever. which is the idea, the concept of shitposting is something that the media doesn't understand at all.
That is also
the
very
media
true.
takes everything 100% seriously. As in, if anything was posted, like, this person really believes this. Really? Someone said this. I mean, hell, the media aren't the only people to do it. Fucking people on a certain forum got upset when we were watching the Champions of Fire tournament from Amazon, that ridiculous mobile game tournament that they brought some streamers to play. And I was in Northern Lions chat, shitposting, like making jokes at people's expense. And it's like, I know all of the people that I was making the jokes about. You know, they're friends. It was Bandit, basically, shitposting. But some people thought I was serious. And it's like, no, not at all. The media should fucking know better that people do post random shit that they don't believe. And no, saying something if you don't believe it is not the same as saying it if you believe it. It's, to me, you know, there's a massive difference in intent, and intent does fucking matter.
Mm-hmm.
But intent is also almost impossible to read over the internet sometimes.
It is. Which is maybe why you should give people the benefit of the doubt. You know?
No, don't take it that far. TV.
I'm the exact opposite.
Good faith.
Like, if you're shit posted at me, I know you're most likely giggling as you're typing and you don't really mean it, but I'm gonna shit post the fuck back, you little asshole. Like, I'm not like, you didn't get under my skin, but boy do I enjoy trying to get under yours. Like, knowing that you're after me, I'm like, yo,
Jesse's the problem.
I'm the problem. I'm like, you want to play a game, eh? Let's play a game. Like, that's the internet. Like, spoiler alert, people write shit just because they think it's gonna be funny.
Yeah.
With zero emotion. Zero emotion. So don't get like, oh, they're really worked up, or Jesse, why are you so upset? Like, I'm just literally sitting here sipping tea, like, oh, this is a joy, right? That's what it is. You can't put intent behind people's words. Like, you just can't.
Not on the internet. It's impossible to judge it. And in some cases, there are definitely still things that you could say that it's not so important what your intent is, because they're like just so horrible because of like the effect that it might have, you know. But you go and tell someone to kill yourself, it's like, well, I didn't mean it. Like, yeah, but you still told someone to kill themselves.
I think that's the difference, is there is like shit posting, and then there's saying things that someone in your life told you, like, hey, like, never told you, like, hey, dumbass, don't tell someone to ever go kill them. Like, that's fucking stupid. Like, that's not even funny on the internet. That's like that's fucking rude and gross, and you're an ass for doing it. Don't do that. Like, you can tell someone, like, hey there, boob tits, go work out, asshole. Like, that, all right, I get, like, that's cute. But don't be like,
don't go tell people that. Don't listen to Jesse's
advice.
No,
don't do that. There's a difference between Twitter and fucking.
There are two levels. There are two levels of like. There's like an attack because I'm a little shitlord who lives at home and I fucking have nothing better to do with my time, versus like, hey, go commit suicide because I hate you. Like, that's two levels of stuff, and one of those is inappropriate, and the other one's just mean. Right?
There's a huge difference, I think, as well, between directing something at somebody via a medium like Twitter, where you have to specifically say, at this person I'm targeting, you know, it's a targeted insult or harassment. And Twitch chat, which is just a maelstrom of, like, generally directionless shit, you know? That is completely different. You do get people that will post dumb shit in chat, and they certainly don't mean it, and it's not targeting anybody, and it's really effectively harmless. But even then, like, even in the situation where chat is bad, the dumb thing about this article is that it broad strokes the whole thing and completely ignores the point that if you get a ton of people, especially anonymous people, in the same place, and you don't moderate it, then of course it's going to turn into a shit show. And Twitch chat is no worse than any other big chat that does that. It's one of the only places where you can have that many people in the same room in a live environment. Have you ever been in a sports crowd at all? You ever going to see a football
game? It gets out of control.
There are people that say really shitty things. I've been at WWE shows, and there's people who have said really shitty things. I was like, well, that sucks, but, you know, it's a big crowd, and shit can get bad sometimes. It's because you feel like you're part of a mob, and you're sort of emboldened by that.
Yeah. In some countries, people stab each other over football games.
There's been...
shit gets...
entire crowds of people shouting racist shit at black footballers. You know, those are the kind of things that can happen that are far more severe than this. And nobody goes and says, all football crowds are awful. You know, this is all terrible. No, they don't say that. They say, okay, there was an incident and that sucked, and we need to handle this.
Yeah,
and
this person really sucks.
Yeah,
and they happen to be a football
specific
fan.
game. So
Well,
no, I'm sorry. Like, all of Twitch chat is not shit. That's nonsense. It's an insult to all of the people that do this on a professional level. It's certainly ridiculous to suggest that we don't have moderators or rules, or we all have our different ways of managing it. Because of the size of my stream, I go sub only, because I go like 10 to 30,000 people watching. It just makes the chat easier to read, in my opinion. And I don't have any like volunteer moderators really. Whereas you guys have volunteer mods. You sometimes go sub only if it gets a little bit spammy. There are solutions. We have had a bunch of ways to handle this for actually quite some time. None of which seem to ever be mentioned in these articles.
It just goes
misinformation about the fact that Twitch has had an optional blacklist on like very specific words for a long time, and that you can add to that list inside of Twitch, and have been able to for a very long time. Yeah. That's one of the big things that bothers me in this article. I'm like, you didn't even research.
No, because you're not a Twitch streamer. You don't know what you're doing. Like, you're writing about something you don't understand.
This goes back to the whole idea that everything we talk about now, everything, doesn't matter what subject, is the result of someone saw a crazy person say something and then responded to that craziness. So this was like, I watched a Twitch chat where someone was using bad language, and now I'm going to write an article on it. Like, oh my God, stop this shit. You have to stop. This is too much. It's too much.
It's hard because it's not, I mean, there's a couple of different situations. Like, there's the, let's remember that, if we remember the whole, there is a bunch of white supremacists that don't want a black stormtrooper. Like, that never happened. Like, that was 3 trolls on Twitter, and then everything else was people responding to those trolls, telling them that they're stupid. There was not a giant white supremacist revolt on social media about that. But then, because that gets picked up by articles, and the fucking news reports on Twitter, apparently more than anything else these days. It's like, someone said something on social media. Did they really? Cool. Right. So a few people said some shit on social media. Did they take to the streets? Was it a 10,000-man riot that resulted in deaths? Like, did they go burning buildings down? No, I mean, someone said something mean on Twitter at some point in a 140-character throwaway with a random fucking, probably egg account. That this account is 3 minutes old and said something shitty. This is the news now. It's like, congratulations, you just gave a platform and a megaphone to an idiot and you let them spread their message. Well done.
Remember the good old days when we ignored assholes? Remember that? When someone said something stupid? Oh my God. That was a good time, Dodger. You missed out. You missed out when people said something crazy and you were like, all right. And you went somewhere else because that person was a lunatic. Now we retweet them. Cool.
Yeah, the problem is when people will say, hey, you're being hypocritical because you're kind of doing the same thing because of these stupid articles. The problem is, like, we're talking about people that write articles on a site that has an audience that actually has some power and presence. So we're not talking about random people on social media. If a gaming website, one of the more prominent gaming websites, says that Twitch chat is awful, then some people are going to believe them. And some people, you've got to respond to that. It's the last year in particular has been ridiculous when it comes to the amount of people have called it fake news now. And it's a bit of a dangerous term because you can classify an opinion piece as fake news when it's really just an op-ed or an editorial.
Right.
And then there's, of course, straight-up fake news where it's like, Obama did this, or Hillary did this, or Trump did this, which is all, which is completely fabricated. But then it gets picked up by people that just want something that confirms their pre-existing biases. So it gets spread around the place. The only real way to deal with that, because you can't really go and censor it, like, you don't have the right, and 2, it's a very slippery slope in some cases.
The minute you do, you just make it more valid. Like, they're trying to silence us.
This is proof. Yeah, it's the good old Kafka trap, But someone's got to respond to it with a counter argument. When a gaming website goes and says Twitch chat is universally awful, people that actually know what they're talking about need to kind of come back and say, actually, no. We're not saying it's perfect by any stretch. There are definitely some pretty shitty situations, but also you're not understanding a lot of the context. If I go into Crip's chat, I mean, I personally hate it, but Crip's chat is a bunch of spam, copy pasta, and fucking emotes and memes and stuff.
Oh my god, Kraken's chat is all meme lords.
Yeah.
That's his entire chat. I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
Northern Lions chat, you know, is a lot of like the streamers insulting the chat and the chat insulting the streamers, and it being it's a giant roast is what it is. Yeah. You know, nobody's serious about it. Everybody's like it's all in good humor.
But this is one of those things people need to understand. Like, going into the internet, which you should understand by now, is shit talking is part of the game. And many people will be like, it's not part of my game, which is cool, but like, that's one of the levels of the internet you just need to get. Like, everyone's internet is their own internet. It's how they function, and they create their own little worlds on the internet. Mm-hmm. And before you jump into one and judge it, you need to understand it first. So before you jump into Twitch and see people talking shit, or before you jump into like some of the like niche areas of gaming, don't like get your pants all in a bunch over this shit, because that's just that way that world works.
That's why when people come into my chat and they make titty jokes, I'm like, you should go tell that joke in Jesse's chat, because we don't have those jokes here, but Jesse loves them.
And I will read that joke.
I encourage your internet, Jesse.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I will be like, look, if you need to feel like a burrito and be wrapped in a little beanie burrito, you go to Dodgers. And you know what?
Yeah, you go
like,
join that cult, that literal cult that you're running over there.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is the internet is what you make of it. And so you can't judge the internet as a whole. You can never say universal anything. You can't do it. You can't do it.
I feel it's like, you know, someone made an argument in the chat, you know, you can't argue that there weren't a substantial group of people that were vocally sexist about a female lead in Star Wars. I can argue that because there are 7 billion people on the planet. And no, the size of that group is not significant. You have no idea how many of those were even real people. You don't know how many of them were bots and sock puppets and shit like that. And the internet is an amplifier for bullshit. It makes these people seem way more significant than they really are. And you give them importance by claiming they're a significant group of people. You know, it's the same. It's bullshit.
Meanwhile, every little girl that saw that movie was like, holy shit, I'm inspired to love more Star Wars now.
Of course.
Fuck you. They don't have a Twitter account. Fuck you for saying that.
Yeah, that group of people massively outnumbers the people that were mad. Also, and let's not even go into the fact that all of those people, you know, the people that didn't maybe like Rey as a character for other reasons were all lumped into the same shit. It's like the Ghostbusters shit. People were all lumped into the same fucking group by the media in particular. I mean, these are, you know, fucking morons with articles and no college fucking degree writing on goddamn Vice and shit like that about how the angry video game nerd is a misogynist. Like, can't distinguish between a character and reality, causing major harassment and defamation for James Rolfe, who was one of the loveliest people on the fucking planet. People going on actual television talk shows saying, yeah, the only reason people don't like Ghostbusters is because they're fucking sexist. Fuck you.
I just seriously. I want to point out for the world one more time, and I'm going to try and use my screen to the best ability that I can. There are crazy people here, and there are crazy people here, and the rest of us are right here.
Right in the middle.
And that's the vast majority of us, and we waver back and forth from time to time with certain, but we're all in the middle. We all have differing opinions, and we all aren't, like, you can't, there is no universal anything. Stop doing it. It's getting nuts,
Don't
people.
Judge the population by the wingnut extremists. I know this has been a really fucking divisive year, and a lot of us, including myself, I freely admit, have made some pretty damn serious mistakes about, you know, yeah, you're damn right. I was upset about the result of the fucking election. I lashed out at people, and that sucks. You know, I shouldn't have fucking done that. I shouldn't have lumped people into boxes. But if anything, is that not just a goddamn great example of how bad an idea that is? You know, it's stupid. It's incredibly stupid. You're just turning everything into tribalistic nonsense. And you know, there's this article, when you create a piece of content, I don't know about you guys, you know, because we all do different kinds of content. When you create a piece of content, do you think as you're making it what your desired outcome is? Like what you hope to sort of achieve by creating that? Even if what you hope to achieve is just entertainment. Even if you just hope for that. Like when I do a discussion piece, like a couple of days ago, I did a little mailbox on the DOTA 7.0 patch, and the purpose of it was I wanted to make people take a step back and have a little think about things like skill floors and skill ceilings, about how it's not necessarily bad that you take ideas from other games, and not to be so reactionary to certain changes. That was kind of the whole... That was what I wanted to achieve with that video, and I think it mostly did. Yeah?
I definitely... When I make a video and I put it up, my very first thought is, I really hope people enjoy this. Like, I really hope that they
that's your primary goal.
That's my whole, like, goal with the stuff I make.
You don't want to piss people off with it. You want to entertain them. You want to make their lives a bit better, right?
Well, I think that's the like inherent problem that I have, where I'm just like, I just want to make a story. Like, this 45 minutes of an episode, let's make an adventure out of this. The minute I upload it, though, I'm just like, did I say anything in that episode that's going to get me in trouble? I'm going to get yelled at by someone. Like, that's my problem now, is I will not post on Twitter because I'm afraid someone will be like, well, your opinion sucks, so here's my hate mail. I'm like, I'm just not going to say anything. I'm not going to.
Twitter's a very limited medium. Like, you can't make a nuanced post in 140 characters. So it's very easy to either take that out of context or apply meaning to it. And good faith is dead, apparently. Like, giving people the benefit of the doubt is dead. You look at a tweet, and a lot of people, and I dip into this myself from time to time, instantly assume the worst about it and the person behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's not what they meant. Huh? Maybe when JonTron called the PlayStation Network retarded, he wasn't insulting every person that has a mental illness or disorder, and he doesn't hate people with Down syndrome and things like that. Maybe he's not a horrible person. Maybe he just said something in frustration about a product, and a product doesn't have feelings. Maybe we shouldn't make those assumptions about the rest of his character.
Nah, JonTron's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
No, JonTron's actually a piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, we know him. He's terrible. Be the change you want to see in the world, right?
Yeah.
We're pretty happy with the way that our Twitch chats tend to operate, and I'm very cynical about chat and stuff like that. Like, there are some systems which are very, very difficult to handle, and a couple of years ago, it's the same thing that I said about YouTube comments when I turned them off. And it's like, we can't figure out a way to handle this. And I personally, on an emotional level, can't handle it. So my solution is kind of a scorched earth solution to turn it off, and I left it off. YouTube has definitely done some things to improve that, but a lot of YouTube comments can still be very bad. But, there is a solution to that. If you properly moderate those, then they're not anymore. Yeah? And you can curate... It's about curation of a community.
Mm-hmm.
And building the group of people that you want. And if somebody from outside, an outsider comes in and does something that is not in line with the rest of, what you do, you have the right, because it's a private forum, it's not... Censorship and private property is irrelevant, guys. I'm sorry. It's not. You're not guaranteed the right to speak in a private domain. It's, this guy's house that you just wandered into. He can kick you out. He sets the rules for the house. Mm-hmm. And we say, look, no, we're not about that here. And you have a choice. If you want to participate on that level in our group, then you have to follow our rules, or you can go to a different group.
Mm-hmm.
You can go somewhere else that does suit what you want to do. The internet's probably got a place for you. There's a place to belong, no doubt about it.
That's the thing that baffles me when people complain constantly, and I'm like, there's somewhere that will let you do exactly what you want to do right now. It's just not with me.
Yeah.
That's
the expectation is like, well, you should change everything based on to alter it to me and my opinion and my desire. No, mate, we're producing a product, and the way that this works is that if you're not about our product, you don't want to consume our product, you go to someone that does create the product that you want. And as weird as it sounds, for quite a few people, when it comes to streaming, the product isn't just what we're saying on the stream, because the chat is part of that. The interaction is part of that. The community or group aspect of discussion is part of the product in some way, which is why it's kind of important, and it's actually the responsibility of the streamer, in my view, to make that product work the way that they want. And if they let it get out of control and they just don't do anything with it, you can actually kind of blame the streamer for letting it get that far.
I'm with you on this. I will say that as an example, if I were to go into Dodger's chat and just be a dick, like a total asshole, here's the thing. It's the internet. I'm allowed to do that. But it's Dodger, or it's the responsibility of that community to also be like, you're a fucking asshole. Get out. None of us want you here.
Oh, totally, yeah.
And block that dude.
Don't tolerate the intolerant.
Yeah. And then I'm allowed to go write a shitty article about Twitch chat. But guess what?
We're also allowed to respond to your shitty article about Twitch.
We're allowed to respond to your shitty article and tell you how wrong you are. That's how it works. So, we got this shit covered. We got it on lockdown is what we're saying. Don't come at us, bro. We got it.
Yeah. All three of our chats are pretty damn good, and there's plenty more that are like ours, honestly. And even the big ones that are kind of wild are not wild in a malicious way. Crip's chat isn't full of fucking racists. No, I don't see people spamming the N-word everywhere over Twitch. At all, actually.
Maybe Kraken's chat makes a little too many Harambe jokes, but they're good people. They just love...
Also, Harambe's dead and doesn't have feelings anymore, so it doesn't really matter.
Harambe jokes, though, I don't know if they're good people. They're people, is what we're saying.
For God's sake, Jeff Kaplan made a Harambe joke on stage. I'm pretty sure we're all allowed to do it
Jeff Kaplan, not good people.
I mean,
the worst.
He's saying he's a bad hombre.
He's a bad hombre.
Bad hombre. It's...
Oh, God.
Yeah, I think we did touch on this a while ago when there was the issue of that Hearthstone stream, and there were accusations of, or kind of racist trolling in the chat. And there was some, definitely. I'm not going to claim that it doesn't happen. Of course it happens. It's not nowhere near as common as you claim it is, but it doesn't happen. The thing is, that was a 60,000 person tournament chat run by a full professional organization. DreamHack. Please be DreamHack. Hope I'm right on this. And it didn't have any moderation. It didn't have moderation. And 60,000 people. What did you expect to happen?
And spoiler, I bet there was someone, a Dodger-esque viewer, who had their own chat set up where you could go and not watch people be total fucking douchebags and watch it with friends. I bet there was tons of those.
That's what Slash Host is for. You can create your own channels within channels. Those who don't know, by the way, I sometimes get complaints like, yo, chat's always sub only. Yeah, you can make your own chat within the chat. Like, just click the top right, top left, sorry, at the top of the chat. You can make your own room and invite people in.
I'm shocked how many people don't know about that.
Yeah, they don't know about that feature at all. It's really good. Yeah. If you've got problems with the spam, get your own group in and just have your own little discussion. There's a lot of value to that, or go to a channel that's hosting it and use their chat instead, and all that kind of thing. And there's a lot more to Twitch chat, and it's definitely unfair to say Twitch chat is universally awful. And even after acknowledging that not all chats are awful, the title of the article is still Twitch releases new tool to fix their awful chat, which implies that all Twitch chat is awful. And no, that's sorry, it's not. That is bullshit, and if you keep making content that says that, people are going to believe it, and then they're going to act that way. It's like you tell someone they're a piece of shit over and over and over again, and then you act surprised that later on down the line they start acting like one. You told them over and over again that they sucked. So, more often than not, what will happen is eventually someone's just going to be like, all right, I guess. They're just going to... They're going to stop fighting it. They're going to give up. They're going to become that. You tell people they're a good person. You encourage them. You compliment their good points and that kind of thing. Then they will act that way.
Yeah, man. Self-fulfilling prophecy. That shit happens all the time. That's why you should always look for the good in people. Always. Don't try your hardest to be like, I see there's something good in you. You little shitlord. Stop it.
Try and give people the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, man.
And it's hard. I will say this, it's particularly hard. When we get an insulting message, it's very hard for us to, as human beings, because we immediately go on the defensive, to think, is this guy, why did he say this? Is he actually a hateful person, or has he just had a really fucking bad day? Is there something really shitty going on in his life right now that's causing him to act out, that's causing him to... He's venting his frustration on us, and maybe he's projecting or something along those lines. That's very hard to stand back and rationally think about that.
Yo, I'm about to get super real with y'all's real. This needs to happen.
I'm so ready.
All right. No. All right. So when back in the before times when I was a teacher, one of my students every day would come to class and sleep and fight me and always just be most like irate human being on the planet. And I could not, it was like, how do I reach these kids? It was that moment. Like, I could not connect with this kid. And it wasn't until I like did research and actually like asked around about this kid that I found out, one, he was basically living on the street most of the night. So he had to stay awake all night. And school was the only place he felt safe. And two, because he had no parental figures at all, he would fight anyone who told him to do things differently than the way he knew how to do it.
Okay.
So the minute you learn about this kid's like life, you're like, oh shit, there's more going on here than just like the reason why he's sleeping in school is because this is the one place he feels comfortable. The one place he feels safe because he spends all night out on the fucking street. And so it's like, once you learn about people and their reality, that's when you're like, okay, we have to change our conversation. And that shit does not happen on the internet. No one looks beyond the words that are written. No one thinks like, what happened in this person's life today to make them say what they just said? Like, no one does that. It's immediate reaction and back and forth anger until it builds to a point where it's like, we are no longer having a conversation. We were just screaming at each other. And that shit is killing us, y'all. It's killing us.
There are so many stories because there are a lot of schools that are starting to like teach or like train their teachers that way, being like, okay, don't, if somebody's acting out, try to sit them down and talk to them and like
figure out the root of the problem. Don't just treat the symptom because it will just keep coming back.
And there are a lot of stories that are like, wow, it's weird. Instead of sending this kid to detention and, sitting down and talking with him, they're like, it made a huge difference. And it's like, yeah.
What's sending kids to detention, like teaches kids, that teaches the kids that they're bad kids. So they're like, all right, I've been told by an authority figure that this is true about me, so I'm going to believe that, and I'm going to allow that to define aspects of my personality. That can be seriously damaging. Just bear in mind as well, on the internet, a lot of people are young. They're easily influenced. You've got to be particularly careful if you're in a position of influence, whether you be a writer on a games website, whether you be a YouTuber or a Twitcher. Why do you think I got so fucking angry when Pro Syndicate and T. Martin were revealed to have created that CSGO Lotto site? Because I know the majority of their viewers are kids, and they're being misled by someone older in a position of power and authority who's just abused his position of power and authority to make money at the expense of children, to influence children to go and gamble, and has been horribly dishonest to them. That's shit. That is shit. You should call that out. And I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, we're all YouTubers, so we're all in this together. No, we're fucking not. I want half these people off the fucking website. You think I want fucking Leafy and Keemstar and those pieces of walking human garbage on this website? No, I want them gone. They're shit. And people that break the law and encourage kids to gamble and encourage people to go and tell autistic children to kill themselves because they're cringe and all that bullshit. Yeah, I want them gone. And I got no fucking problem saying that. Because you can't tolerate intolerance. It's bullshit. That, what is it? Evil wins when good men do nothing, or whatever the hell it is. And it's the same with this. Don't go and broad stroke all of what Twitch is. Twitch is not a single entity. It's a massive group of people. Huge number of people, and they're all different. And you get sub-communities within sub-communities within sub-communities, and they all have different rules, and they all have different standards, and they all consist of different people. Yep. And you have to treat it as such. Don't treat it as some massive malignant entity. There's no easy answer to that. And it's not fair. You're putting everyone in the same box.
Somewhere, I just hear in the background, "Slay, Biscuit Bear, slay!"
It'll be Sky.
Slay, Biscuit Bear.
It's Sky.
Oh my god, that new co-optional animator was so great.
Yeah, totally.
I loved it.
Yeah. Now, and we've all fallen into this trap, right? Like, before the, you're a hypocrite thing. That doesn't matter. Like, I'm sorry. Here's the thing: hypocrisy doesn't fucking matter. Everybody's a hypocrite at some time in their life. It doesn't make what we're saying less valid. Like, if anything, it's a reminder to us as well that when we're tempted to fall into that kind of behavior, that we're in a position where our behavior could spread. You know, we could really cause a domino effect. We can cause big ripples, and those ripples can be negative if we're not careful.
Mm-hmm.
So watch yourself. And even if you don't think you matter too much, maybe you're just a random guy in Twitch chat, or you guy with 10 followers on Twitter. You still have 10 followers on Twitter. What you say can influence those 10 people. What you say on Facebook can influence people. So try and be a good example. Try and be the change you want to see. Basically.
Yeah.
I guess.
Damn. Truth. Factual information.
Something like that.
Co-factional podcast.
Yeah, that's what we're renaming it to now. That's about it for the show, I think, folks. Thank you very much for watching the Cordial Podcast. We'd rather not finish on negative by reading out all the releases, because, one, that'll take half an hour. Secondly, then we look through them, a lot of them look really bad, so we're just skipping that. We decided not to do it this week. We will be back next week, however, at the usual time at 3 p.m. Eastern on the 20th of December. I guess will be Sacriel. We're going to be starting the Co-opties, which will be our casual end of the year awards discussion. Fake awards don't matter, folks. We're coming up with that. But we'd also love to know what is going on the channels over the next couple of weeks. So, Dodger, what are you coming up with? What's going on? Where do we go to find your things, and what are you doing?
I've been doing Vlogmas this month, if you're interested in watching that. It's a daily vlog during the whole month of December, so that's been pretty fun. You can find that on my YouTube channel. Also, the first full VOD, which is a little over 4 hours long, of me playing The Last Guardian just went up, so if you'd like to watch that after we discussed it. Yeah, and I stream a few days a week on twitch.tv/dexterity_bonus, and on all the social medias, I'm at dexbonus.
Jesse, you're in England right now, I believe.
I am, so that doesn't stop me from being a giant nerd. So chapters 1 through 6 of Final Fantasy 15 are up on the channel. More Scary Game Squad is coming, and Dishonored, and more Resident Evil with Cry is also on the way. And I may, if I'm legally allowed to film some of this thing, I'm going to Thursday, which is like the Star Wars Identities experience, which like you get a wristband and then like go through this thing. At the end, they make you a Star Wars character. And I'm like,
what? That sounds awesome.
I know. So I'm really excited about this. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm in. So that might be on the channel this weekend if I can film it legally.
If you're not a Sith, I'm calling bullshit.
Oh, I'm just gonna go to the Imperial sections only and be like, go on.
Cool. Not much from me this week. I stream tomorrow, so I'll be out of action in a couple of days. But right now there is a big VOD of me doing Starcraft ladder stream, which I haven't done in quite some time. Went back on ladder, playing Terran again, playing Mech, which is awesome. Battle cruisers are fun now. Cyclones are pretty fun. Mines are fun. We had some good games. So you want to go watch that, then it's on my Starcraft channel, which is youtube.com/TotalBiscuit. And if you've missed the VODs for Shoutcraft Kings December, which was, one, it was definitely our most stacked tournament. Secondly, probably our best in terms of game quality. We had some amazing games. Then also go to that same place. You'll find them there. If you subscribe to the Twitch chat, they already have the VODs available, so uncut. So if you prefer to watch that, then that's cool too. And I'll be back next week. I'm currently working on the Arbitrary Awards 2016. I'm going to have to redo that fucking first part. No, 35 minutes of soundtrack discussion, probably not a good idea. I'll release that. Let's just say I'll release that bit as an extended cut. Let's just go with that. But I know I'm going to have to redo that. The show will be 4 hours long if I don't. So that we're aiming towards the end of the year for that. If it does slip over, bear in mind that show takes weeks, months, sometimes to put together. There will be a live broadcast of it like we did last year. There'll be sort of it'll be a live premiere, basically. So you'll be able to watch it with everybody, and that'll be pretty cool. There'll also be my top 10 games of 2016. There's still a couple of games I need to play before the end of the year. Before I do that, like I want to play Shadow Tactics and a few other titles that may very well end up being in my Game of the Year list as a result. So I'm going to go do that over the next few weeks, and before the end of the year, there will be my top 10 games of 2016. And I probably will not be streaming Dota. Not after that shit. Oh my god. No, thank you. Ugh. Absolutely not.
I have another thing that I forgot to mention.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant you had to leave now. All right, sure. What's the other thing?
No. I totally forgot to say this before. This actually isn't like a promotion for myself, but
for me, oh my God, thank you.
I'm putting a link in chat right now. The Last Guardian fan art contest has its top 10 that you can vote on. They're all Twitch broadcasters who did like their art streams to put these together.
Some nice stuff in there.
So you can vote every day up through the 16th. There are some people that I know personally, and there are people that I've never met before but have incredible submissions. So yeah, just go and check those out because there are a lot of really, really cool, creative Twitch broadcasters that people have never heard of. And I think that these contests that they've been doing are a really cool way to find people to watch. So
very cool. That pretty much wraps up the show, folks. Thank you very much for watching. I wonder who's going to end up on the host list after this. I'm seeing who's sort of live at the moment. Stripman's probably live doing Overwatch stuff, isn't he?
He's been trying to play the Legion servers on Arcade.
Oh, yeah.
For the last like 3 fucking days. The queue times are like 5 hours long.
God
and they
damn.
just crash the second you get into them. I'm like, honey.
He's on now, apparently. So you'll probably watch MMO with Stripman after we go off the air.
It's cool. The legacy servers have none of the pay-to-win stuff on them, so people are really excited about it. It's just that they're not stable.
So here's the thing. When it switches over, everyone should go to his chat. And what did we learn today? Be like, Sam, you can do this. You're going to get online. We believe in you. Hashtag do it, Sam. Do it hard.
Hashtag do it, Sam.
There
you go.
That's the
Hashtag do it hard.
Hashtag do it, Sam. Do it hard. That's the full hashtag. Yeah.
Send him our love.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. This has been the Corruptional Podcast. We will be back next week, same time, same place, same channel, to start the Co-opties 2016, whatever the hell that is.
Yay!
Be excellent to one another, and so forth.
And party on, dude!
And party on, dude!
Goodbye!